meeting to order. Please join me in a moment of silence.
Councilor Duncaster. Present. Councilor Donahue. Here. Councilor Emo. Present. Councilor Farr. Present. Councilor Gibson. Councilor Grunt. Here. Councilor Kingsbury. Present. Councilor Love. Present. Councilor McKay. Councilor Miller. Present. Warden Murphy.
Present.
Councilor Peckett.
Present.
Councilor Meinwald.
Present.
Councilor Robinson.
Present.
Councilor Stack.
Here.
Councilor Sweet.
Here.
Councilor Wisniewski.
Here.
Thank you, Madam Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchins. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest or the general nature thereof? Seeing none, can I get an adoption of the minutes? Councilor Wisniewski Moore, second by Councilor Love. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? I gotta tell you, the view from here is really spectacular. This is very cool.
Not bad the other way either.
You're such a sweet talker. As we gather in chambers this morning, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting today on traditional territory of the First Nations. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. Members of County Council, during the month of June, I attended 11 meetings on county business. On June 9th, I attended the official opening of a new OPP facility in the town of Renfrew. This is a new state-of-the-art facility that we can be proud of. On June 16th, I attended a Renfrew County Flood Impact and Recovery meeting in the township of Killaloe, Haggerty, and Richards. I would like to thank Councilor Wisniewski Moore for hosting us. Also on June 19th, the Township of Madawaska Valley also held a flood recovery or flood impact and recovery meeting, and I'd like to thank Deputy Warden Kim Love for attending that on my behalf. On June 21st, I attended the 2017 Economic Development Summit at the Eagle's Nest in Eganville. Attendance was more than anticipated and the results were incredible. Over 115 local businesses and community leaders participated in a productive morning session that has produced the feedback necessary for county staff to update and prepare renewed economic development strategies. The afternoon incorporated roundtable discussions with businesses and government officials that followed an inspirational and a hilarious keynote address from renowned Ottawa Valley economic developer Larry Smith. A huge thanks to all the organizers for such a successful event. On June 23rd, I attended the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus meeting in Picton, Ontario. Discussion was held on the AMO local share proposal. Also, discussion was held on the Eastern Ontario Regional Network Solgap project, which has received very favorable support. On June 29th, I attended McNabb Braeside Canada 150 relay at the Waba Cottage Museum. Thank you to Councillor Packett for inviting me. It was a wonderful event. On behalf of all the members of the County Council, I extend the condolences to the family of past Warden Gordon White of Westmeath. Gordon was Renfrew County Warden in 1984. Gordon, was first elected to Westmeath Township Council in 1963 at the age of 24. He will always be remembered as a gentleman who was very knowledgeable in municipal politics and was well respected in the community and at the council table. I will remind those assembled here of the following: the County of Renfrew, experience our history, share our future. This concludes my address for this session of County Council. Thank you. And we will move on. Mr. Hutton, if you'd like to introduce our first delegation.
Thank you very much, Madam Board, members of County Council and guests. We had a delegation this morning from the Canadian Blood Services. Mary Ann St. Michael is here to talk about introduction of blood donation clinics. Since 2014, the County of Renfrew has been a Partner for Life program partner with the Canadian Blood Services. By joining this program, the county made a commitment to save lives by donating blood. The need for blood is constant, and patients that are treated for things such as cancer surgery and trauma depend on a stable supply of blood year-round, which is why we have the power to save lives. Very appropriate, this delegation is a summer kickoff to our driving season and the busy summer season. So, to date, the County of Renfrew employees, family and friends have donated a total of 194 units of blood. Each year we set an annual goal. Today we have Bev Zato, a champion of our County of Renfrew Canadian Blood Service partnership with us. And we have Mary Ann St. Michael of the Canadian Blood Services. She's the territory manager. And she will ask Bev and Mary Ann to come forward to do a relaunch of our Canada 150 partnership goal. And after that, we'll have a full opportunity with the warden, me, and Mary Ann and Bev. Thank you very much.
Hi there, thank you so much for having me. We're here, as you just found out, to relaunch our partnership on this special year. And since 2014, under the leadership of Bev Zato, our Partners for Life champion, the Corporation of the County of Renfrew has pledged a certain amount of units to us each year. And as you just heard, so far, employees, friends, and family of the Corporation of the County of Renfrew have donated 194 units of blood. The really special thing about that is each unit of blood is one donation that someone makes. And when it's taken to our lab in Ottawa, it's actually separated into three components: red blood cells, plasma, and platelets. So each donation really impacts 3 patient lives. So since 2014, 582 patients have been impacted in a positive way from what this partnership has started. To coincide with Canada 150 initiatives across the county and country this year, we have upped the goal from 80 units to 150 units. It's a bold goal, but it comes at a really special time for me and for my team at Canadian Blood Services. Our national inventory right now is at about 14,000 units of blood. So that means we have 14,000 units of blood right now nationally in our inventory. At this time, we would like to have about 20,000 to 25,000 leading into the summer. So this new bold goal, this initiative that we have, is really going to help us collect more blood, raise more awareness about the need for blood this year in Renfrew County and surrounding areas. So what we've decided to do is have a special 150 Canada 150 clinic in each town where we hold blood donor clinics in the county. Today we're starting in Renfrew. We're visiting Pembroke, Petawawa, Eganville, and Arnprior. So I invite any and all of you to come visit us at a clinic. As part of our partnership, we're going to have special decorations, and we're going to give each donor that comes in a special Canada 150 pin that you probably can't see, but we're wearing here today, as a thank you for joining us and giving life from both Canadian Blood Services and the county. Today we're going to kick things off at the Boncher Manor. We're having a clinic right inside the new hall there. 2 residents of the Boncher Manor who have been blood recipients themselves, Barry Dick and Joyce Scott, are going to officially open the clinic for us alongside Aaron Wilson and Shelley Yantha. So we're really excited that you're going to help Canadian patients this summer and throughout the year. So thank you very much and have a very safe, as you mentioned, on the roads, long weekend. And hopefully we don't have to provide any of our services for people here today. Thank you.
Or not, you can see their Band-Aids.
Right here. Hold it. Just hold it.
I think, yeah, sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If I may, Madam Warden and Council, I just wanted to say a few words of thanks. I want to thank Bev Zatto. Bev's been the leader on this project for us at the County of Renfrew, so I'd just like to give Bev a hand because she's worked really hard on this project. And, I think it's a great initiative, and thanks again, Mary Ann and the Canadian Blood Services. Thank you, Madam Warden.
Thank you. Mr. Foss, would you like to introduce our next delegation, please?
Thank you, Madam Warden. Good morning, County Council. And yes, it's, our next delegation is certainly no stranger to these chambers. And it's my pleasure to introduce Ms. Karen Black, who is a partner with the audit firm of Scott, Rosine, Black & Locke. And she is here this morning to present to you the 2016 Auditor's Report for the County of Renfrew. Thank you, Karen.
Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see the sea of red out there. It's beautiful. All right, so handed out as a separate handout was a copy of the financial statement for everyone. We're going to do this very quickly this morning because I understand there's a very special celebration going on. So, the financial statements before you are the consolidated financial statements of the County of Renfrew. So they take into account your general fund, Lonesshire Manor, Miramichi, and the Renfrew County Housing Corporation, all incorporated into one. Any intercompany transactions that happened, let's call them that, are taken out. So this is the true picture of how you were this past year. So as we flip through, we'll go right to page 3, which is the auditor's report. The opinion on the auditor's report is what everybody wants to key in on, and the opinion this year is also a clean opinion as in prior years. So in our opinion, the consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the Corporation of the County of Renfrew as at December 31st, 2016. So, good news, clean opinion. So as we go into the financial statements, we get to our first statement of financial position, again, consolidated. We have our assets, we have our liabilities. Something that's new this year in the liability area is your temporary construction loan. This was monies received from the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corp with regards to the OPP station in Renfrew and the Claybank Bridge project of $5.4 million. So that is something that's new this year for the County of Renfrew. So net financial assets, about 3/4 of the way down, big bold print, $13 million, up 1.7 from the year before. So net financial assets description is those assets, less liabilities, that can be turned to cash at any given time. So that's what a net financial asset is. Non-financial assets is your next section down. So those, of course, by definition, are going to be those things which we cannot readily turn to cash. The biggest component being your capital assets, linear assets being roads and bridges, your buildings, your vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. That particular non-financial assets of $219 million has gone up $4.2 million in the year, mainly in the area of linear assets. And we also have the final part of the Vimy Boulevard reconstruction project from last year. So in total, accumulated surplus, $232 million. If we flip to the next page, we have our statement of operations consolidated, showing budget for 2016, actual 2016, and comparing to 2015 actuals. Annual surplus for the year was $5.9 million versus our budget expected of 5.1, so we did very well in this past year. Congratulations to all. So if we take that annual surplus, we add it to our accumulated surplus from the year before, we're going to get to our accumulated surplus, which showed on the previous page. Accumulated surplus is an item that's very important to all of us, so let's flip to that one, and it's actually shown in a note. It's on page 16, it's note number 9, and it's how the accumulated surplus is broken up. So we have our reserves, current reserves, capital reserves, what we have invested in our tangible capital assets, meaning what we have put in monetarily towards those. And then we have our unfunded, so the items that we're going to have to fund in the future in order to meet all our obligations. We have capital unfunded, being the OPP station, Claybank Bridge, and a Centennial Lake project. We have post-employment benefits that, again, in the future, as your persons start to retire off, we will have to cover those expenses. And long-term liabilities, which are 3 mortgages and promissory note outstanding in Miramichi Lodge and at the Renfrew County Housing Corporation. So that's how your accumulated surplus is generated. I know I did this very quickly. I apologize if anyone has any questions at all.
I'm very impressed, actually. Does anybody have any questions about the financials from 2016? You must have done a great job, Karen. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hutton, is there any correspondence?
All correspondence has been forwarded to the appropriate standing committee.
Thank you. And with that, we will move into our operations report. And Councillor Peckett, if you'd like to take us through the report.
Thank you, Ward Clerk. Members of County Council, we, your Operations Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Number 1, information in Ontario Municipal Commuter Cycling Program. You see it attached in Appendix 1 is information in regards to the newly announced cycling program. This will be funds for a 4-year period, and this year the applications are due by August 18th. Item number 2 is the monthly treasurer's report. Tabled for Council's information is the April 2017 Treasury Report, as well as various reports for the administration, maintenance, and capital works programs. It's noted that the amount paid for insurance claims exceeds the amount budgeted this year. Within the maintenance division, it is noticed that expenditures for winter control, which exceeds the 2017 budget allocation. I don't think that comes as any surprise to County Council after the winter we've had. Item 3, monthly project status report is tabled for your information. Item 4, County Road 51 Pedalo Boulevard Expansion project. There's been meetings held in Toronto and Ottawa by various members of County Council, the Minister's offices and the Prime Minister's office in regards to trying to move this project forward. It is the importance of the need for a partnership at all levels was stressed as key to making the project successful. Item 5, quotations and tenders. Tenders and quotations received are provided in Appendix 2 or in the bylaw section for your information. Item 6, request for proposal for engineering service. There's a summary of the request attached in Appendix 3, and some were awarded the engineering firms who evaluation scores rated the highest. Item 7, replacement of county structure C-133's Shield Drive culvert. The committee endorsed the award of Township Brayside contract, PW 2017-01 for the reconstruction of Seal Drive. This included the replacement of the Shield Drive culvert at the county's share of the cost of $87,316. Item 8, bylaws, clean water and wastewater fund, moved by chair, second by committee. The bylaw be passed to authorize the warden and chief administration officer to sign the transfer payment agreement for clean water and wastewater fund. The background information is there for you. There's items in Deep River, Renfrew, and Brayside, county share being $25,000. Item 9, PWC 2017-31, request for proposal, manufacture, supply, and delivery of a precast concrete box culvert for county structure C047 culvert. Resolution number OPCC 170649, moved by chair, second by committee, that contract PWC 2017-31, submitted by Armtech LP, Ottawa, Ontario, for the manufacture, supply, and delivery of a precast concrete box culvert for county structure C047 culvert in the amount of $207,543.60 plus HST be approved, and that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed. The background is there for your information, and to be noted that the staff has confirmed there are sufficient funds to complete the project as ordered. Item 10, PWC 2017-21 is a replacement of county structure C104 Byers Creek culverts. Resolution number OPCC 170650, moved by chair, second by committee, the contract PWC 2017-21 submitted by RGT Kuchik Construction Limited, Pembroke, Ontario, for the replacement of county structure C104 Byers Creek culverts in the amount of $504,132.50 plus HST be approved, and that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed. Background is there for your information. And also that there's confirmed that there are sufficient funds to complete the project as tendered. Item 11, County Road 13, Mountain Road, roadway, resolution number OPCC 170653. Moved by chair, second by committee, that a bylaw be passed accepting the transfer of parts 2, 3, 6, and 7 on 49R 18941 from Mr. Dustin Lozon and Mr. Michelle Zolmers to the county of Renfrew, and that parts 2, 3, 6, and 7 on 49R 18941 be dedicated as part of the public highway upon registration of the transfer documents. Background is there for your information. Item 12, McCoy Road, road allowance and Forest Road, geographic township of Ross, from lot 6, concession 8 to the shoreline of the Ottawa River, transfer to the township of Whitewater region. Resolution number OPCC 170654, moved by chair, second by committee, that bylaw be passed authorizing the warden and clerk to sign the transfer documents for the transfer of McCoy Road, road allowance and Forest Road, geographic township of Ross, from lot 6 concession 8 to the shoreline of Ottawa River to the township of Whitewater region. Information is there for you. Item 13, intersection of Petawawa Boulevard, County Road 51 with Laurentian Drive, County Road 25, installation of traffic signals. Resolution number OPCC 170655. Moved by chair, second by committee, that the quotation submitted by Parnham Engineering Limited, Ottawa, Ontario, in the amount of $186,495 plus applicable taxes for the design, supply, and installation of traffic signals at the intersection of Petawawa Boulevard, County Road 51, with Laurentian Drive, County Road 25, be approved, and that a bylaw be passed to authorize Parnham Engineering Limited to proceed with the design, supply, and installation of the traffic signals at said intersection. Information is there. Item 14, PWC 2017-04, rehabilitation of County Road 49, the Paul Road, including the replacement of county structure C313, Nagels Culverts. Resolution number OPCC 170656, moved by chair, second by committee, The contract PWC 2017-04 submitted by Smith's Construction, the division of the Miller Group Incorporated, Renfrew, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of County Road 49, New Cross Road. Option 1, hot mix, including the replacement of county structure C313 Naples culvert in the amount of $1,132,539.50 plus HST be approved, and that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed. Information is there for you. The committee went with option 1 hot mix because of the length of time that the road would last as opposed to resurfacing. In 15, PWC 2017-09, rehabilitation of County Road 9, Boulder Road, including the replacement of county structure C227 New Creek Culvert. Resolution number OPCC 170657, moved by chair, second by committee. The contract PWC 2017-09 submitted by Goldie Moore Limited, Ottawa, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of County Road 9, Boulder Road, including the replacement of county structure C227 New Creek Culvert in the amount of $481,400 plus HST be approved, and that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed. Background is there, and the staff have confirmed there is sufficient funds to complete the project as tendered. Item 16, PWC 2017-12, rehabilitation of County Road 12, Westmeath Road, and rehabilitation of county structure C205, Westmeath Culvert. Resolution number OPCC 170658, moved by chair, second by committee. The contract PWC 2017-12, submitted by H&H Construction Incorporated, Ottawa, Ontario, for the rehabilitation of County Road 12, Westmeath Road, and rehabilitation of county structure C205, Westmeath Culvert, at the amount of $745,418.69 plus HST be approved, and that the bylaw to authorize execution of the contract passed. Also confirmation that there's sufficient funds to complete the project as tendered. 17, PWC 2017-27, hot mix paving in County Road 63, Stewartville Road, resolution number OPCC 170659, moved by chair, second by committee. The contract PWC 2017-27, submitted by Smith's Construction, the division of the Miller Group Incorporated, Renfrew, Ontario, for hot mix paving on County Road 63, Stewartville Road, in the amount of $227,150 plus HST be approved, and that a bylaw to authorize execution of the contract be passed. Background is there for you. There are sufficient funds. All of which is respectfully submitted by myself as chair and committee members Gibson, Love, McKay, Miller, Murphy, and Randall. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go back to number 1. Any comments, concerns, questions? Number 2, the monthly treasurer's report. Number 3, the projects. Number 4, Petawawa Boulevard. Councilor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Warden. At both of these meetings, each of the Toronto and Ottawa meetings, Councillor Sweet is identified both as councillor and mayor down at Petawawa. I'm wondering there as is Councillor Sweet there as a county councillor or as mayor at all?
I think he's there as both. Certainly the town of Petawawa wants to be a partner in this, but also the county of Renfrew is a partner in it, hopefully with the province and the feds. And on this particular item, Mr. Boland has prepared a letter to go to the Premier and Minister Shirelli to see how we get on the priority list, because we now know that that's the way it gets uploaded to the province, is by making it a provincial priority. Anything further? Councillor Reinwald.
Thank you, Madam Warden, through you to Mr. Boland, for any of the members who were at those meetings. Is there any indication as to whether the province or the feds are willing to kick in some funding at this point in time, or are they still sitting on the fence?
I would say that I was not at the Toronto meetings due to the flood, but I did hear back from the people that went, and they felt that most of the meetings were very positive with the province. And I think that the ones that we attended with the feds were very positive. You know, we met with a lot of different ministries, and I think that all of them felt that this was a very important project due to the garrison. Does anybody have anything? Mr. Hutton?
If I may, Madam Warden, through you, County Council, the process that is in place right now, just to add a little bit to what Gordon said, federal government and staff were very, very enthused about the project, I'm going to say, and very, very saw the need for it. The way the funding programs are working, though, to get federal funding, you have to be on the provincial priority list, and that's the key. So we continue to work on that. I think I wasn't in Toronto either, but I've heard from Councillor Mayor Sweet that the Toronto meetings went fairly well, and we're going to continue to push on with, as the warden mentioned, with the Premier and Bob Shirelli, because they are the point people of the province, obviously. And we're also meeting, and we've had meetings with Global Public Affairs to put a plan together to try and keep this project moving forward. So a strict answer to the question would be both positive, but given the way the funding program is working right now, you have to get on the priority list of the province, and the feds will fund it. So, thank you, Madam Warden.
Thank you, Mr. Hutton. And there is some mystery around how we get on that priority list, which is the reason for the letters going to the Premier and Minister Shirelli. I see Councillor Sweet.
Yeah, thank you, Warden. Yeah, I'm here. I'm really there representing both sides of the fence in a sense, because it's money to come in both the county of Renfrew and through the town of Petawawa to help defer the cost of this project, which is estimated in the region of $20 million, maybe even more. And the point I made and continue to make, both on behalf of the county and the town, that we can't do this on our own, and the partnership is absolutely essential and crucial if we are to move forward in this, when we move forward on this particular process. I suggested a 1/3 from the feds, 1/3 from the province, the balance split between the county of Renfrew and the town of Petawawa. That's the premise that we presented. We were very well received at the federal government. And you're absolutely right. The federal government will take direction, I suppose, when it gets on the priority list. The key is to get on the priority list, and that is through Bob Shirelli's office. And I can tell you, if there was one sort of cold, not cold, but I guess cold would be the word, that we received, it would be from the Bob Shirelli's office. However, having said that, I think we've managed to garner enough support from the various ministries around the Minister of Infrastructure, both federally and provincially, to continue to monitor the situation and get on the provincial priorities list. That's key to the process going forward.
Are there crickets?
That's what some good.
I got it though.
Councillor Wisniewski.
Thank you very much. I support this project, and I don't want anybody to think differently. Because Walter and I did meet with the FCM representatives when Walter was part of that organization, and they told us the same thing, that, and we were there lobbying for, of course, Highway 17. And so they told us that we had to convince the province to put 17 on the priority list. So my question is, again, and I do support the Petawawa, but does that give us less clout on the 17 if we are asking for 2 projects? I'm just a question. I don't know if anybody can answer that. But you know, it's important that we get both of those on the ticket. But I just wondered how our chances were, if anybody's been talking to anybody about that, because the feds said that they would definitely be interested as long as the province came forward and said it was one of their priorities. So I just wanted to know if there's an update on that, because that affects, you know, the big major highways.
And unfortunately, we're not on the priority list for 17 yet either, so your point is valid. Mr. Boland, do you think that we've diluted because now we've got 2 projects that we want on the priority list?
Through you, Warden to County Council. Yeah, that's a risk, that we could have one or the other. We would hope to have both. I know in conversations with Kathy Moore at MTO Eastern Region, she is continuing to support and encourage the province to include Highway 17 expansion on the 5-year forecast. Will that happen this year or next year? We don't know, but she's encouraging them to do that. She's also encouraged by our presentation on Road 51. However, recognizing that the MTO does not directly have any funding to provide to the Road 51 expansion project. So there is some risk, but it does come out of 2 different pots of money to some respect. So hopefully both, and we'll see what happens as we go forward.
Thank you, Mr. Boland. Yes, I agree with you. I mean, we've got several different funding pots for infrastructure now, so I think we need to utilize all of them. Councillor Emo.
Thank you, and Mr. Boland captured exactly the conversations that I understood when I spoke to the minister. I should note the minister and various provincial officials are aware that there is a motion from County Council making this asking for the federal government and the county or the province to designate Highway 17 as a priority, and also they are aware that Fonam and North Bay and jurisdictions have supported that on the work basis it is designated priority. And I would suggest that until there's a motion negating that or rescinding that motion, that's the one that I would think both levels of government would take as a recommendation from County Council.
Thank you. Councillor Stack.
Yeah, just a couple comments in terms of the FCM discussion. When they want to know if and when this happens, they did also say to us then to draw them into the conversation, because that's when they can start to take action and try to influence it through the FCM staff when they're meeting with the feds. But until it's on that list, we're kind of tied to as well. The other thing is, I remember our meetings when I was chairing operations in Toronto when we bought 417 across Harper, and Mr. Shirley was the Minister of Transportation at the time. So at least there's an advantage there with Mr. Shirley. He's been a model of former mayor. He knows the valley, and he's personally aware of the highway and that. So I think that's at least a positive in dealing with it.
Thank you. I think that's why I found when I asked for a report back from the Toronto meetings, I was sort of surprised to find that that was the meeting that was sort of lukewarm. So, that's something that we have to push forward, definitely. The other thing is, I know that this is going to sound ridiculous at $21 million, but what we were hearing as well was this is a fairly inexpensive project that would have that would have an enormous impact. So that's just one of the notes that came out of meeting with the feds. Councillor Donahue.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. I certainly want to endorse from my time in 2016 on the operations committee. Would absolutely agree with Councillor Sweet that it's going to require heavy lifting by all parties. But I certainly want to acknowledge also, because it became fairly apparent in 2016 at operations that certainly through the efforts of Mr. Boland and Councillor Sweet, that the Canadian military through Garrison Kawala has become very engaged also in this project. So I certainly want to commend those efforts and the Garrison Kawala for recognizing the importance of this project.
Thank you. I'm going to let Councillor Sweet have the last word, and then we're going to move on.
Thank you. Yeah, the comments that came back, and you're absolutely right, came back that while we see this as a huge initiative in terms of $21 million when it was presented in the pure dollar sense, $7 million from feds, $7 million from the province, the feedback that we got is this is not a very large project and could be accomplished. And I think we made the point that these are two distinctly different processes altogether. The Highway 17, and I was actively involved in that, it is a long-term 25, 30, 50-year project going forward, and I think that point was certainly made. This particular initiative, as I indicated at the meeting, started 8 or 9 years ago through an environmental assessment that was done on the boulevard, and it's continuing to escalate and grow as the community and the garrison grows. We can't wait 25 years to solve this problem, and I don't believe that they saw this as this or that. I think they understood this as two distinctly different projects altogether. Nonetheless, both had to get onto the priority project. In fact, they have not set the criteria, as we understand it, going forward in 2018 or whatever, for what the priority or what the criteria is to get onto this priority project going forward. Money hasn't been released by the feds or the province, or they haven't agreed on it or whatever. But two absolutely distinct, different projects. One that has to be done almost tomorrow to alleviate the challenges that are on the boulevard. The other one is more of a long-range situation, and continuing the expansion coming up from McNabb side and Arnfire coming up the Ottawa line.
Thank you for that. All right, that being said, we're going to move on. That was good, healthy discussion. We're going to move on to quotes and tenders. Request for proposal for engineering services. Shield Drive culvert. Under bylaws, the Clean Water and Wastewater Fund, number 8. Number 9, the request for proposal for the culvert at Aud. Number 10, the Byers Creek culvert. Number 11, the Mountain Road widening. I got stuck in my tongue. Number 12, the McCoy Road. Number 13, County Road 51 and Laurentian Drive intersection traffic lights. Councilor Emo.
Yes, I remember a discussion at operations some time ago. And this is to Mr. Bowles. This was part of the discussion around this traffic signals was also to at some point in the future go forward with a study of that whole corridor, that whole transportation corridor, to make sure this investment fit into a longer range view. Has there been any more thought to that, or getting parameters in terms of reference for that study? I believe it was a conversation we had at committee and operations about last May or June.
Mr. Bolden.
Thank you, Warden, through you to Councilor Emo. No, we have not moved the study itself forward. There was an environmental study done in the mid-1990s that identified improvements along Petawawa Boulevard at that point in time, and that had with a view to moving towards 4-lane road essentially through that area. We have not updated that at this point, and but we are in need of the traffic signals at this location. We were fortunate, though, when the resurfacing was done the last time, and that's about 15 or 16 years ago, that we had the foresight, the county had the foresight at the time to install the underground infrastructure for these traffic signals. So we do have some cost savings as a result of that. The underground infrastructure is still in good place.
Councilor Emo, supplementary.
Yeah. No, thank you, and I wasn't suggesting delaying it. I just you talked about a bigger look at the whole corridor right through to, I believe, the very south.
Councilor Donoghue.
Thank you, Madam Warden, just to perhaps pursue that a little bit further, as I was sharing off time, and where that came, where that initiative, at least where the idea came from, so that was to update that corridor study. It was precipitated last year at I believe it may have been a grocery store, I'm not entirely sure, another section of Petawawa Boulevard. It was going to have an entrance, I think, that was going to have to go over what is going to be the Algonquin Trail, what is the Algonquin Trail. And as discussion ensued at operations last year, it was felt that that's a fairly important initiative now, and in 1990 that didn't exist. So it was imperative to come up with a fairly comprehensive plan of how to proceed with the pressure, of course, on development in the town of Ottawa along County Road 51, that this can be done in harmony with the intent of the Algonquin Trail. So I think that is something that perhaps in the fall should be a recommendation rather than a motion, but that be pursued perhaps a little bit more focus towards perhaps budgeting for that in 2018.
Thank you for that. Anything further? We move on to number 14, La Passe Road. Councillor Donahue, then Councillor Eno.
Just a kind of a curiosity, I suppose. This is fairly unique, I think, since I've been sitting in this room. There were two different options presented. And I'm curious, the budgeted amount, in both of those charts, obviously there was one budgeted amount. And I'm curious if it was budgeted for a stone surface treatment or if it was budgeted for a hot mix in this instance.
Mr. Boland, we had this conversation in office as well.
Thank you, Warden, through you to Councillor Donahue and members of County Council. The budget as it was established was based on a surface treatment rehabilitation project where we would put a new surface treatment on top, but also surface treat the shoulders. This project was the last, I believe, of the projects that were undertaken a number of years ago where we only treated the vehicular portion of the roadway. We didn't treat the shoulders with the surface treatment. And our experience was, and has been since, that we end up with a lot more edge breaks on those surface treated roads, and the road surface deteriorates more rapidly as a result. The sense we had early in the year was that the cost of hot mix and the gap between the cost of hot mix and surface treatment was closing rapidly. So with that, and with the concurrence of committee, we chose to go out and tender two options for surface treatment with the, I'll call it hardened shoulders, and with hot mix pavement with the hardened shoulders as well. And as indicated in the report, the cost difference is about 20%. The life expectancy is double. So there's good benefit to going forward this way, and will serve the needs of the community well into the future, much better than the surface treatment will.
Supplementary.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And yeah, that is what I presumed the answer was going to be. So I think it's safe to say again that it was my particular congratulations, I guess, last year, 2016, that I view this as a tremendous benefit to the county, where this has not been an extension of a project to take advantage. It has been, I think, much more efficiently spent dollars, given that narrowing of the pricing between surface treatment and hot mix pavement. And I think that window is probably approaching the end of its narrowing. We certainly have been looking at that in our municipality. I have been talking to several in the construction industry. But I thank Mr. Boland for that answer. So it is consistent with what we have done in the last 2 years of I believe, concur with the much more efficient use, I think, of those precious dollars.
Thank you. Councillor Emo.
Yes, and I agree with this decision. I just would like to know, in the past I've been part of a number of conversations where local municipalities want pavement instead of tar and chip. And I was under the impression there was some criteria in terms of traffic count, weight of vehicles, these are my descriptors, the weight of vehicles using the road, speed, all such things. So has that criteria changed because of the costing? Because when you take a look at some of the other county roads that are what I'll call tar and chip, is it an option if there's a narrowing of the gap between partnership and pavement for municipal government to approach the county and say, we'd like an upgrade. Because I think that's going to be discussion down the road, and I think we need to know a little bit about the criteria. I don't expect an answer today on a go-forward basis.
That's a really good question.
I wrote it.
So perhaps, we don't want to put Mr. Boland on the spot right now, but perhaps you could bring that back to us, unless you have an answer now.
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
If I may, Warden, through you to County Council. So in response to Councilor Emo's question, no, the standards haven't changed. And he's quite correct in saying that the choice of hot mix pavement versus surface treatment really is a function of the traffic, both the volume and the nature of the traffic. And better to go with hot mix pavement. If the dollars were equal, I would certainly recommend to these chambers that we went with hot mix pavement if there's good value to be had there. But there are also those fiscal responsibilities that I need to be aware of. But certainly we can look at that, and I would suggest we should always be looking at the system and the standards that we use, and we should then from the staff level be bringing reports back to committee and council from time to time with suggestions and recommendations that standards and treatments perhaps need to be changed to give us the best value going forward.
Councillor Doncaster, why are you laughing?
No, I have to. So I wonder if a county road, if there was, let's assume that it didn't fit the criteria for hot mix, but the municipality wanted it upgraded to that. If there was the opportunity for the municipality, the local municipality, to get a difference between what the county would be paying, just floating it in.
Slow it back, slow it back. Do you remember? Yeah. We're going to use you as a test case.
I'd let that go.
Yeah, don't answer that. No, go ahead.
Thank you, Warden, through you to Councillor Doncaster. If I may be so bold as to suggest that those options are always available, and the folks sitting in the horseshoe would be the final arbiter of that decision.
We're moving this along. We're going to be having lunch at 4 o'clock if we don't get going here, gang. Number 15, Bulger Road. Number 16, Westmeath Road. And number 17, Stewartville Road. The report as a whole. Can I get a mover?
So moved.
Thank you. Anything further? All those in favor? Excellent. And now we can move on to development and property. Take it away, Councillor Sweet.
All of which is submitted by myself as chair.
That's efficient.
Bob really wants lunch.
Yes, sir. Warden, members of County Council, we, your Development Property Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows a number of information items. The first one can be found on page 114. That's your Planning Division Activity Report. Item number 2 is the advertising or promoting the Ontario East Municipal Conference. For those who have not been to that, it's excellent value. And the interesting part about that, it speaks to the levels of government at the lower tiers that we have. It's not a big, large conference for the likes of the large urban centers. And you can see it's September the 13th to the 15th, and get involved with that. Calendar will take care of it. Item number 3, another investment in Renfrew County, and this one in the Renfrew facility. This is the second one. The first one was a month ago, and we talked about the investment down in Armpar. Now we see another investment here in Renfrew, so congratulations to Renfrew. I'm not sure whether that's as a result of the 4-laning that's coming up there, but I'll say it is. Okay, that's another argument for 4-laning. The boat is a partnership with the OBTA, and you do have on your desk a copy of the boat initiative coming forward. Boating opportunities on the Rio Canal. Sounds like a an ideal situation, so that's the information. Item number 5 is Summer Company. You can see the 6 are now operating their businesses across the county of Renfrew, the young student entrepreneurs. I think it's a fair cross-section of the municipalities within the Upper Ottawa Valley and Renfrew County as a whole. Item number 6 is a congratulations goes out to our forester, Lacey Rose, who was the recipient of the John H. Sellers Award at the annual conference for foresters just recently. Item 7 is the harvesting update. As you can see, the Pulaski track is completed as far as cutting is concerned, and harvesting will begin, not harvesting, but hauling will begin when load restrictions are over. Item number 8, the HVAC system here in 9 International Drive is ongoing, and I know there's a lot of comments coming back, and you can see that they're being delayed a little bit, but nonetheless they're moving forward on this particular initiative. Majority of costs, which are a bit of a cost overrun, are going to be covered under the contingency funds. Big item here is Eastern Ontario Municipal Planners Forum. You can find all of that information, which is item number 9 on pages 115 to 156. We'll be talking about that coming forward. There's a report going to be given to us with regards to that particular situation, going over as far as current growth rates, etc. in Eastern Ontario, and in particular Renfrew County. Reforms to the Ontario Municipal Board under Bill 138, the Building Better Communities and Watershed Act in 2017. You can see the government received more than 1,100 written submissions, so obviously a hot item with regards to some of the contents of this particular initiative. And over 700 individuals have attended 12 town hall meetings. I won't go through the whole initiative here because you do have it in front of you. However, our committee has directed staff to provide a report with recommendation on how to proceed with the problems we propose enacting of the Local Planning Act Appeal Tribunal. The Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail Management Plan, just a little bit of background for you. As you recall, there will be a trail management plan put in place with, in conjunction with the partners, that's Lanark County and Pathfinder Cameron. In order to put that in place, we've engaged or suggested that we engage the Ontario Trails Council to put that in place at the tune of $13,274. Again, so, by way of overview, we're not paying the 100% of that. It's a partnership situation. 70% of that number will be paid by Renfrew County, 20% by Lanark, and 10% by Pathfinder Cameron. To put this particular project in place. The funding for that is coming from a deferral on the employment of an individual who we want to put in place a trails coordinator, but we've delayed that, and part of the money coming from that is going to be paid for that. There's a hope that this management plan will be completed by the end of August 2017, and in fact we are having a meeting of the trail management group on July the 5th, the Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail Group. That's Lanark County and Pathfinder Cameron and ourselves. Item number 12, Wilderness Committee requests province to end logging in Algonquin Park. This has raised its head once again. It is unfortunate, but you see the resolution. DPCC 1706-51, moved by Chair, second by Committee, that County Council recommends that the warden send a letter to the province of Ontario in response to the Wilderness Committee's petition to the Ontario government to end forestry in Algonquin Provincial Park, and further that a delegation from the County of Renfrew be requested to meet with the Minister and for Natural Resources and Forestry to discuss the benefits of forestry in Algonquin Provincial Park. This is a bit of the background. This goes back a number of years ago, and I talked to the development property team about that about 10 years ago. This came up, and we did some extensive studies on this to find out that there was concern that logging was hurting tourism, etc. in the park. And I recall that when I asked the question, how many visitors attend Algonquin Park? Well, in excess of 1 million. So I said, how many comments or concerns did you get back from those with regards to logging? And the number was 10. That's hardly a problem in our view. I don't know what percentage that is. There's too many zeros in there for me to figure it out. But, and the interesting part, without logging, it wouldn't be a park. The trails that they move through and wander through and hike through are put in there by the forestry. They are custodians of Algonquin Park, and in fact, we are proud of the fact that Algonquin Park is the best managed forest park in the province of Ontario, if not in North America or Canada. So a letter will be sent out, if it's not already sent out, to the minister to talk about this particular situation. It's sad that it has to come back every so often on this particular situation. So hopefully one day we'll get it so that we'll truly understand the value of Algonquin Park, not only to the tourism industry, but to logging as a whole. Algonquin Trail usage. I just have to put in a little bit of a friendly amendment in there. If you can bear with me, I'll go through it and I'll explain where the friendly amendment is. I want to remove recommends to designates and take out to be designated usable. That verbiage I would like to come on. Resolution number DPCC 170652, moved by chair and seconded by committee, that County Council designates the County of Renfrew portion of the Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail, the Algonquin Trail, as multi-use. And further, that the definition of multi-use includes all methods of self-propelled transportation, as well as horseback riding, snowmobiles, and off-road vehicles as defined by the Off-Road Vehicles Act, and you see the number there, Reg 31603, as amended, which are commonly referred to as all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, and side-by-sides. And further, that if a local municipality comes forward with bypass or twinning solutions for motorized and non-motorized vehicles, that they are prepared to support and fund, that County Council would consider such an alternative. This comes out in tandem with what was passed in Loudoun County. Going back, the interesting part about this particular initiative that we've now put in writing, I think it's fair to say that over the last 7 or 8 years, we've always stipulated that there would be a multi-season, a multi-use 4-season trail, but we've never actually physically put it down on in the form of a resolution. This is what this is doing today. All of which is respectfully submitted by myself as chair and committee members, Elon, Florence, Love, McKay, Bill, and Murphy.
Thank you. All right, we'll go back to information item number 1, the activity tracker. Number 2, OEMC. Number 3, the investments for Insun in Renfrew. Number 4, the boat. Number 5, summer company. Councillor Stack.
Just an observation. The one award to City of Ottawa, I'm sure that's relevant to enterprise geographic responsibility territory. Just to clarify. Just because the one is listed outside of Renfrew County.
I know, I saw it's Fitzroy Harbor and
City of Ottawa.
Yeah.
Enterprise Renfrew County, I believe, has a different territory than just the County of Renfrew.
Mr. Kelly?
Thanks, Gordon, and through you to the councillor. That's true. The Enterprise Renfrew County works with Invest Ottawa and takes in those great proportions of the Ottawa region. So this is not doesn't happen very often, but this was dragged into that area of ours.
Just for clarification.
And just a fun fact, our Canada Day cake for this afternoon was made by Kate's Cakes. Yes. So we're utilizing one of our summer companies. Councillor Emo.
Yeah, just as some information on at Sawtech this weekend, I had the opportunity to run into someone who had sat beside at a summer company gathering a couple of years back. Blair McMillan from Golden Lake Rustics is a graduate of summer company and of Starter Company, and he was at the show showcasing his wares, his wood products. He's doing very well. He's been in full-time business as a graduate Starter Company for a few years now, and is quite supportive of his involvement with both summer company and Starter Company, and then also quite optimistic about his future. So it was great to be in touch with him again and see the results of those two programs. Going back about 8 years winter started. So they have a legacy. I know we don't often see that, so I can provide them to the council.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's nice to know, it's nice to have a success story come back to these chambers. Anything further on 5? Number 6, the award for Lacey. Congratulations to Lacey. It's quite an honor. Number 7, the forest harvest update. Number 8, the HVAC replacement. This project's like winter, it just keeps on giving. The Municipal Planners Forum. The proposed OMB changes. Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Ward. These aren't, I wasn't exactly sure where to do this, and it occurred to me as I was going through this report based on the last sentence of this page regarding the implications it may have for the update to the official plan. Because as Council will recall, there were, I believe, 7 open houses, public meetings held in 2016 with a view towards soliciting comments from citizens of the county, with the expectation conveyed in September of last year that a summary of those comments and perhaps a revised plan would come to council in February or March of this year. Then, of course, we received glowing comments from the province with respect to our official plan, I think in February or so. And then there were going to be some follow-up. There was a cursory discussion of some of those comments at the time, with a view again towards there being perhaps a more in-depth analysis and review of those comments to again be brought back before council. And I understand that this is a very significant undertaking to review the official plan, and there has been a great deal of back and forth, and will continue to be, but I'm wondering when we might, as council, see those comments, both of the public, the ratepayers of the county of Renfrew, and also with respect to those comments generated from the province.
Do you want to answer? Yeah, Richard.
Thanks, Ward, and to Councillor Donahue. So, again, just to point out what we're doing, we had anticipated bringing a report to Community Council in June. We did get the comments back from the province that changed the game a little bit in terms of where we're going with. They were quite extensive. Then we heard from the OMB on their reforms, which changed the game even further, that we understand that we can't appeal. If we were to put our official plan in, we would not be able to appeal their decision should they make a decision. So that changed the game again for us, that if we brought a draft official plan to county for approval and submitted that, whatever the province came back and said, no, we don't agree with this is what you will now have to live with, we would not be able to appeal that decision based on the OMB reforms. So that changed the game again for us. That's why there's been a few delays. In the meantime, we had started a lot of work. There's the planning group is about 70 or 80% through the list of responses from those folks that have submitted comments. So we're not quite complete that, haven't completed that quite yet. But when those are complete, we will share those with Community Council.
Thank you. Just so this chamber is aware, coming out of the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus meeting last week, this is an agenda item for us when we go to AMO. We are going to be speaking about this. I think it sort of came out of the blue, and it obviously has affected all of our official plans, and all of those wardens that reported that they were working on their official plans. This sort of, as Craig just astutely said, it changed the game. So after, I think August is probably the appropriate time to bring this forward, once we find out what the ministers at AMO have to say. Did you have a supplementary?
I did, thank you, Madam Warden. And I'm not sure if it's sort of a question as a comment, but it seems oddly at a very high level this seems now to be mirroring what I often tell ratepayers in my community, which is if you had a notion of doing some sort of development, doing some sort of land division, the rules change frequently. And the time to do it is perhaps before those rules get changed. So there does seem to be an impetus now. I recognize that these are being still discussed and debated. These have not received royal assent yet, that these new rules are in place. So given that we currently, under the current regime, do have the wherewithal to appeal the minister's decision, if there is a potential to lose that for both vectors, both in addressing that through the Eastern Ontario Wardens Caucus, through AMO, but also with a view towards arriving at perhaps an official plan that we can make application for approval while we still have access to that means of perhaps overriding the minister's direction.
Okay, I think Mr. Kelly would like to respond.
Thanks for working it through me, Councillor Donahue. I concur. So to that end, what we discussed with Mr. Hutton and the planning group is that we've set up a meeting with members of MMA with the province on July the 5th, I believe, to discuss their comments. I won't say mediate a response, but to discuss their comments to see where that level playing ground or that middle ground may be. And that will form part of a response, but your comments have been noted for sure in terms of getting it in sooner while we know the name of the rules of the game.
Councillor Kingsbury.
Yeah, I believe, I'll use this one. I believe, Madam Warden, that Horton was one of the townships that was possibly holding some of this up. We were waiting on OMAFRA to give us their explanation, their description of lands that they felt should be included in the official plan. And they held us up for a considerable amount of time. We have now, as you're aware, got the remarks back and we're sifting through it and we'll proceed as quickly as we can.
Anything further? All right, the Recreation Trail Management Plan. Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I apologize, I was out of the room. I thought I would be back in as we were getting to these points. So it is the Algonquin Trail Advisory Committee that issued the RFPs, and they of course have the purview over that section of the Ottawa Valley Rail Trail within the contiguous county of Renfrew. So is this plan to be for the trail in its entirety or just that portion within Renfrew County?
Councillor Sweet?
Yeah, well, as I indicated, this is a management plan for the entire trail, and that's why I indicated the amount of money that is being looked at there, this $13,274, is not 100% paid for by the county, only 70% of it, because it was agreed by the partners that they would be part and parcel of this management process, and that in the case of Lanark, they would be paying 20% of that, and Papineau Cameron would be in fact paying 10%. So it will be a uniform, and that's what we've tried to do, put a uniform at 50,000 feet if you want, 30,000 feet for this trail. Having said that, we still have control of our particular trail within the 216 kilometers in Renfrew County.
Thank you. Supplementary?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Warden. I just, because I know that there is a potential for perhaps a confusion bias, because ultimately then it would be the Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail that is engaging. Is that not correct, rather than the Algonquin Trail Advisory?
It's in partnership, though.
I'm not quite sure. It will be the Ottawa Valley Recreation Management Trail, endorsed by the Algonquin Trail ourselves. But the whole process will be one continuous trail from Smith Falls to Matta, of which we are part of, 70% of it.
I understand that. The report says at the direction, according to the county's policy and at the direction of the Algonquin Trail Advisory Committee. But the Algonquin Trail Advisory Committee seems like it was soliciting requests for proposal on behalf of all of the partners
that's exactly right. We indicated that we would take the lead on this particular situation in partnership with the two other partners, Leonard and Padua Cameron. They were quite pleased to, when I say they, the other partners were very pleased to allow that to take place.
The request to end logging in Algonquin Park, Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
I just shuddered when I read this, because as you know, I've been here over 30 years and we've been struggling with this issue. Every couple of years it comes back and forth and back and forth. So all I'm asking is that if I could be part of you're asking to go and see, have a delegation with the minister. I would, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to be part of that. We have a lot of history going back. We did many presentations when I was warden. We spoke every couple of years. They change, or even every year they change the ministers. So we continue to meet with every single one, continue to tell them. M&R, a few years to Bob's points, did a study on logging in Renfrew County, and part of that was the park. And it's over $1 billion to the county of Renfrew. That's a big number, and I think we have to remind them that we all work together. We've been working in the park for over 100 years all together, and 10 people complained out of 1 million. It just, anyways, I'm not going to get started because we do have a barbecue, but I just smell the hot dogs. But anyways, I would ask that Madam Warden, with your concurrence, that I would be a part of that delegation, if you wouldn't mind.
I think that's perfectly acceptable considering your family business. Councillor Emo.
Thank you. Just again, only 46,000 hectares of the park are eligible for logging, which is down 6% from 2013 when they were completed previously. As Councillor Wisniewski-Moore says, forestry and forestry-related activities are worth $1.3 billion to the county of Renfrew's economy. It's about 350 to 400 million direct dollars. 2,500 people employed directly. There are three production facilities in Renfrew County that are dependent upon the fiber coming from Algonquin Park. Another 7 more also get fiber. There are probably 500 very well-paying jobs connected to the mills in Renfrew County that are connected to that area. About 40% of the total wood supply in central Ontario comes from the park. So that necessarily doesn't mean Renfrew County, it also means over into Haliburton and to the south as well. What's disturbing is they periodically place these things on the environmental DR, but they do not ever conduct any kind of socioeconomic analysis. They just flop these out. We end up running around with the industry to respond to them. The ministry then turtles, and it goes away until somebody else sitting in their mom's basement in BC decides to file a complaint. And this came from BC. It didn't come from Haliburton. It didn't come from Renfrew County. Thankfully, it didn't come from Toronto this time. It came from somebody in BC. So I think there's a couple of layers of issues here. One is you cannot allow indiscriminate postings or complaints without some kind of evidentiary background, as opposed to somebody sitting in his mom's basement at 3 in the morning and you know, 1-900 subscription died off, so we went on to the EDR to file a report. So I think we need to approach it from a couple levels of talk about the economic benefit, but also to ask them to amend the process which allows people to arbitrarily complain. Cost us a lot of money, cost the industry a lot of money. We don't want to have anxiety over someone's dabbling in what they perceive to be an environmental issue. And as Councillor Sweet has said, there is not a conflict. The Algonquin Forest Authority has done a great job over the last few years, 50 years plus, frankly, in managing the forestry industry. There are at least 30 to 35 forestry or forest-based species of risk register as well that roams around in there that also further constrains the logging in the Algonquin Park. It's already a tight window of northern terms of time and a tight geographic area. This is just utter nonsense meant to impact the economy for no good reason. So I think we have a couple levels to debate on. Thank you.
I completely agree with you, and you know, I haven't sat here nearly as long as either of you, but in the 6.5 years I've sat here, I think this is the third time this has reared its ugly head. And I agree, like, what do these people in BC even know about Algonquin Park? So I agree that the process for making a complaint and having us chase our tails, that's almost as important as anything else to do with this issue. Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Madam Warden. On the weekend, when I was reading the hundreds of pages in our report, 2 red flags were raised, and this was certainly one of them. So I researched this organization that I'd never heard of before. They are very, very well funded and very active, and tout a lot of successes in their endeavors. And Councillor Donahue this morning had indicated to me a phrase that I hadn't heard before, and that was be very careful of who you pick a battle with, especially if they buy the rink by the barrel. And when you research this organization, it's quite obvious they buy the rink by the barrel. So I asked myself a question, as a county council, are we doing enough? And I have to say, no, we're not, because we have to take the time and the effort to fight this on as many fronts as we can. And I would suggest that we encourage Ron Holman from the chair of Roma to engage with us and support, because the letter he wrote with respect to the septic issue, I'm quite sure was one of the things that turned the scale. So if we could write a similar letter with respect to this, I think it would be great. And I would encourage all my fellow heads of council to write their very own letter rather than just rubber stamp a resolution, because I found out that that is very effective when people write a different letter, because it is treated differently rather than support of a resolution and no other words to do that, because all of those just go in one pile and are treated as one objection. So certainly we need to encourage this delegation with the ministry, and also to, as Councillor Eamon said, let's get some realism in here. You know, you can't, well, yeah, everybody has rights and freedoms, but boy, when a couple of people just raise their hand and object to something and create a lot of headache, a lot of work, and a lot of expense for people in the industry, it does nobody any good. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Donahue.
Thank you very much, Madam Warden, and certainly at the outset, those comments that have already been made have to occur. What I find with this, and we have discussed several of the other vectors by which we have had this pushback on these absolutely sustainable forestry practices that are being exercised in Algonquin Park. I think none so egregious as the environmental commissioner for Ontario. That is particularly galling, because what I find in the climate that we're in now, where it seems that everything must be a zero-sum based outcome, this is eminently sustainable. We here in Renfrew County live in the environment that we take advantage of for a great deal of our economic engine. We have no interest in soiling where we eat, to put it politely, from an agricultural adage. So it's discouraging when we do make great strides towards accommodating and collaborating and recognizing the environmental values that should form part of our discussion and be informing our decisions, that when we do so, there is an abject failure amongst those who are ill-informed or misinformed or thoroughly ignorant in attempting to push beyond that. It then makes it incredibly difficult to try and elicit support for a lot of these issues that truly do need support when you receive broad sides that are so fundamentally insupportable. So again, I think this is doing a great disservice, certainly to Algonquin Park and the diverse uses that have been made of Algonquin Park from the time of its inception, at the acknowledgement and essentially agreement of the lumber industry of the time, that This needs to be repudiated full throat.
Thank you, and I would, I agree with Councillor Gibson. I think that instead of just writing the same resolution over and over and over again, I think if we can take some of the notes that Councillor Emo gave us about the economic impact and the management of Algonquin Park, I think that's probably what should come from all of our lower tiers. I'm going to give Councillor Sweet the last word here.
I feel very honored that they asked twice.
That's twice, yeah.
Okay. That's, pardon me? I know we've got lunch to go there, I get that, okay. Just to give everyone some sort of feeling of comfort here, and Janice talked about it. I go back 17 years, Janice goes back a lot longer than that. Let me just say to everyone here, we lobbied one heck of a lobby last time this came forward, took on Parks Canada, took on the Ontario Parks Organization. We had the backing of AMO, we had the backing of FCM, we had the backing of Roma at the time. Not only did we have the industry in Renfrew County on the east side of the park, we also went into Huntsville and around Huntsville on the west side of the park, and we put in a very, very strong case, and that's what resulted in the decision to walk from this particular initiative. My suggestion would be to direct staff to go back into the files and bring out that particular lobbying initiative that we had, because it's all there in terms of economic impact, jobs, and update it and use the same initiative. Absolutely correct. British Columbia, I doubt very much, maybe they do, maybe they know where Algonquin Park is, I am not sure, but a group just out of the blue comes over and hits us with this. I would suggest to you that we are not the least bit shy of taking them on or anybody else on, as it impacts one of the pillars of our economics, and that is forestry and logging in Algonquin Park. So I would suggest to go back into the files and take a look at where we went with that particular lobbying effort, and it was extremely successful, including having all of those folks right in this room here, and we discussed it at length with them.
So I'm seeing a lot of head nodding. Is this the direction that we want to take our staff to go back and pull out, maybe the time and the time before that and what we did? All right, excellent. Noted. All right, and now the Algonquin Trail usage with the friendly amendment of the word designates as opposed to recommends. Anything on that? Councillor Donoghue.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I have no issue certainly with the resolution itself. I think that's important, although I do question it. I'm kind of wondering if we have the capacity to dictate to the lower tier municipalities that they shall allow motorized vehicles within their municipalities, which seems to be what's stated here with respect to the twinning conversation. But the gist of my question here is much like the official plan. There were several open houses to elicit comments on the Algonquin Trail, on the Ottawa Valley Recreation Trail, with a view towards them being summarized in a report brought back to council on those open houses, and I'm wondering what the status of that might be.
Well, first of all, we're not saying that the lower tiers have to allow them. We own the trail, it's county property. So I don't believe that it's any different than a county road, and we allow usage on that. But also, throughout this entire process, we've never veered from multi-use, four-season recreational trail, in my opinion. So if there's ambiguity there, then I think that's something that we need to know about, because I don't think we've ever veered from that verbiage. Councillor Sweet, would you like to speak to this, or Mr. Kelly?
I think the question was asked, have we catalogued all the responses that we received and all of the open houses? And I believe the answer is yes, that we have. But Craig will indicate how we have wrote that out. I think that's what Councillor Donahue is asking for, but we have done that from the 500 odd or whatever it was, I can't remember, responses that we received. Madam Warden, I defer to Craig on this.
Mr. Kelly?
Thanks, Warden, and Councillor Sweet. Through you to Councillor Donahue. A note, in February, we brought all the responses back to committee and council. As one of the appendices of that report, specifically February 22nd, the comments were there. I'll also additionally note that with the development of the trail management plan now, it will be a draft document at some point in August, hopefully. That draft document will be shared with the local municipalities for their review and comment. Not to say that that draft report is going out to the public for comment again, but it will be distributed to the local municipalities for their comment. And there will be another chance, if you will, to suggest changes that you may want to see.
Councillor Emo?
Yes, and I would suggest that the motion captures the essence of what was hopefully trying to be accomplished by council, bringing this to make it a multi-use trail. But should member municipalities wish to not allow motorized vehicles or make that recommendation, this then puts the onus back on them to respect the overall flavor or intention of the trail to be multi-use, to suggest a workaround. So I think what we're doing is we're preserving the original idea, but secondly, it also allows some accommodation if there's a reasonable partnership that can be achieved. So I think if you take a look at it in the whole with that view, and I think and the motion tried to capture that this is what the intent is. But should there be some workarounds that are offered that are reasonable, then it could be considered. So I think that's what, that to my mind is what we worked hard on with the wording of this. And I would hope that, I see Walter nodding, so I think we got it? Okay, so that's what I think. So we are preserving the original intent, recognizing that there may be opportunities or workarounds that are necessary to assist the local municipality in their development. So I think this is the best of an imperfect world that we come up with at this time to do, to end up with the end product that we hopefully will have in the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you for that. Councillor Stack.
For example, our partner in Lanark County, the town of Almont, and at their expense, but they have some concerns, and they're looking at a workaround or an alternate route to part of their community. And Lanark has said to them, that's fine, you can provide that route, and the expense and that cooperation is there. I think that's the same intent we have here in Renfrew County, and I think the motion says that quite clearly. So there's a real sense of cooperation with everybody, but we have a commitment through 3 partners that this would be an ongoing trail over the whole piece of property, or 250 kilometers, whatever involved.
Thank you. And Councillor Sweet, you'll be happy to know that the cars have been moved off the trail.
I never said a word. Property owner.
They were threatening to charge us rent. Councillor Love.
Thank you, Madam Warden. When the consultation was done, it was, and I understand why it was done, basically in the areas where the trail goes through. I'm just going to ask respectfully, could other municipalities please also get this plan and have an opportunity to comment on it? Because this is an asset for all of Renfrew County, and I want to make sure that my municipality can see what the plan is, because eventually it is going to affect us. It is going to be something that is going to bring people into our area, and I'd just like that opportunity to comment on it.
I think that's a reasonable request that we can accommodate. Wonderful. Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Afterwards, perhaps, because I went to the February 22nd, I see it was an item on the B&P referencing the 6 posted open houses, et cetera, but there is no appendix that gives a summary based on what I'm looking at. So after the meeting, perhaps if you could just bring it to my attention. Thank you.
Thank you. The report as a whole. Can I get a mover?
So moved.
All in favor? Excellent. Councillor Wisniewski Moore, I know you're gonna do me proud with this. Watch this, gang. Watch how fast she is.
I'm going to pass it over to the vice chair. I know I'm quick, but I am going to pass it over to the vice chair, Bob Kingsbury. And thank you, Bob, for taking my place in my absence.
You're welcome. Madam Chair and County Council, we, your Health Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Item number 1 is the resident population of both homes, a total of 344 as of May 31st. Item number 2 is the wait list for both long-term care homes, Bonger Manor 156 and Renfrew Lodge 244. Item number 3 is an update on the flooding. Again, we want to thank Chief Nolan and his staff for the excellent assistance that we all received in the whole county. Item number 4 is information on changes to emergency services. Most changes are positive, however, there are some that the chief is going to keep a close eye on. Item number 5 explains the City of Pembroke's disaster emergency exercise, which was very informative and successful. Item number 6 is information on the City of Ottawa emergency exercise and the county paramedics involved. Item number 7 is information on Garrison Petawawa mock exercise and the participation of Renfrew County paramedics. Item number 8 is information on 2017 Community Paramedic Fire Service Influenza Report. It's a very good report. Item number 9 is information on training with the paramedics on chemical, biological, radiation, nuclear, and explosives. Item number 10 is information on the Silver Chain Challenge, and I understand that Councilor Neiman is leading that.
He's out there doing that.
Item number 11 is information from the Ministry of Health and Long-Term Care accommodation changes. This directs you to the appendix number 1. Item number 12 is an update on the Lodge Foundation and the gala held on May 27th. As you can see, a very large amount of money was raised. Job well done. Item 13 explains the events which took place in Renfrew Lodge at Canada 150 as Mr. Anthony Leslie's presence. Item 14 gives you information on Bonger Manor's events for Canada 150 as well. Item 15 is information from Bonger Manor's Palliative Care Program and the grand reopening of the Mickey Roberts Palliative Care Family Suite, which is well done and very much appreciated by all those who use it. We had the opportunity of having our picture there with Warren and that, and it's really nice facility. Item number 16 is information on Bonger Manor's volunteer recognition dinner with 120 volunteers recognized at this event. And moving to resolutions. Resolution number 17, Scott Rosie Black and Rock, Chair of Professional Accountants Auditors Report. Resolution number HCC 1706-3, moved by Chair, second by Committee. The County Council approves the Auditors Report for Bonger Manor Trust Funds and Renfrew Lodge Trust Funds for the year ending December 31st, 2016. And you have background information as well. Item number 18, Bonger Manor request for tender 2017-01, HVAC replacement. Resolution number HCC 1706-44, moved by Chair, second by Committee. The County Council to approve the awarding request for tender RFP 2017-01 as per the County of Renfrew GA01 procurement of goods and services policy for a section of flat roof and HVAC replacement at Bonger Manor to Aircon Limited for the roof A and HVAC with a 2% slope, $179,059.80. Roof D and E with a 1% slope, $71,968 for a total capital project cost of $250,968.40. Again, you have information as well. All of which is respectfully submitted by the Chair of the Acts of Bureau, Committee members Doncaster, Donahue, Bernard, Gibson, Murphy, and myself. Thank you, Madam.
Couldn't have done it better myself, Bob.
I was going to say, that's fantastic. Welcome, John. Go get yourself a t-shirt.
I'll get me one.
Perfect. Hey. So we'll go back to item number 1. resident population. Number 2, CCAC. Number 3, the flood update. Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
I just wanted to thank Chief Nolan as well. Lots of presence in all municipalities, but I want to thank him especially for KH&R. We welcomed your input, your help, and thank you very much for the job you do.
Ditto. Number 4, the provincial changes for emergency services. Councillor Robbins.
Thank you, Gordon. Just under number 4, the second paragraph, it refers to paramedics providing appropriate on-scene treatment and then referring patients to non-hospital options such as primary care and community-based care. I'm just wondering if someone can tell me where they exist in most of our communities in Renfrew County, unless this means referring you to your primary physician, who then you may see in 2 to 3 weeks.
I think this is about cutting out the middlemen, so going straight to the Heart Institute if that's necessary. That sort of service, but I'll let Chief Nolan answer.
Sure, I can speak to it. An example of that might be mental health services, where you no longer go through the emergency department to be able to access services for patients. In the case of detox or any addictions-related services, we do not have urgent care centers, for example, in rural areas. The real opportunity for us in this language is around the treat and refer and treat and release language, which the community paramedics are doing today, where the Ambulance Act, as it is a difficult piece of legislation today, obligates the paramedics essentially, once a 911 call has been initiated, to transport you to the hospital unless you choose to refuse. This changes that relationship where the paramedics can provide advice and provide you different services and different alternatives in terms of being able to be cared for.
Anything further on those changes? Moving on to the City of Pembroke disaster emergency exercise. The City of Ottawa emergency exercise. Number 7, Garrison Petawawa mock exercise. Number 8, the Paramedic Tri-Service Influenza Report. Councillor Reinhold.
Thank you, Lord. Morning through you to Mr. Nolan. I was just, first off, a total of 286 patients that were assessed and treated. That's remarkable to see that, what your group has done over the last while. I'm just wondering if you've heard any feedback from the hospital staff with regards to the things that you're doing out there to prevent, some of those folks that have to go to the hospital.
We've received very positive feedback. We work very closely with all of the hospitals in Renfrew County. As you may know, the Arnprior Regional Health Hospital is now the recipient of LIN funding for all community paramedicine across Champlain. So they're the funding conduit for communities of Prescott Russell, Cornwall, SDNG, the City of Ottawa, Lanark, as well as Leeds and Grenville and Renfrew County. So we've got a great champion there in Canada. Others, like the GEM nurses and the physicians at Renfrew, Victoria, and various Bay hospitals have been very supportive and in fact represent a significant population where we receive referrals from. So they're actually engaging us, asking us to follow up with their patients. And then certainly the Pembroke Hospital and their HealthLink has been funding us now for a few years, as you're aware. And the Deep River Hospital has been well engaged with North Renfrew Long-Term Care in our program there. So I think overall we've received excellent feedback and we've got strong partnerships with the hospitals.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Just on the 286, do you have a breakdown on, because that was across several different regions, do you have a breakdown, I'm wondering through you if Mr. Nolan has a broke down number for those within the county itself?
Through you, Madam Chair. Madam Warden, the vast majority of those clients, about 2/3 of those were actually done by Renfrew County paramedics. I don't have the exact numbers for you today, but suffice to say that we were able to hit the ground running, given that we already had very good relationships established in Renfrew County. Second to us would have been Prescott and Russell, who did an excellent job. They were around 70 clients that they were able to identify, and Cornwall SDNG was the third runner-up in terms of the number of people that they could engage, but I think given that they were newer to the community paramedic environment, they identified that the vast majority of their time was around engaging memorandums of understanding with organizations and have laid a very strong foundation. So with the new funding that's come through the province, thanks to John and his support at Queen's Park, that $6 million is now going to go a long way in terms of advancing community paramedicine because of work such as this.
Thank you. Anything further? And we'll move on to the CBRNE training. The Silver Chain Challenge. Councilor Nemo's out of the room. Thank you for him for championing this. The changes in long-term care homes. The Miramichi Lodge Foundation update. The gala was absolutely beautiful. The Miramichi Lodge Canada 150 events. The Bonashir Manor Canada 150 events. The Bonashir Manor Palliative Care Program. I'd like to echo what Councillor Kingsbury said. None of us really want to have this, but it's certainly a much needed room and a great asset to Bonashir Manor. The Bonashir Manor Volunteer Recognition Dinner. Resolutions, the auditor's report. The request for tender for the flat roof. The report as a whole. Can I get a mover, please?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, and I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Excellent, and we will move on to social services. Councillor Robinson.
We're always fast. We're always quick. Members of the County Council, your Social Services Committee wishes to report and recommend as follows. Number one, information, the social housing register wait list statistics comparison. Number two, the child care statistics. Number three, the Ontario caseload statistics. Number four, the Renfrew County Housing Corporation Annual General Meeting. And number five, resolutions. And the following resolutions, the Child Care Services Department's response to an increase in our funding from the provincial government for child care service spaces is going to allow us to increase considerably the number of spaces throughout the county of Renfrew, and in particular in areas where there is a great need for child care spots. As well, it will give our staff an opportunity to hopefully move and transform unlicensed child care into licensed child care agencies, which again provides us with better oversight as well as additional support that we can offer both the child care supporter and the children involved in the program. So, licensed home visitor child care division, resolution number SS-CC-17-06-40, moved by chair, seconded by committee. The child care services increase the present 0.5 full-time equivalent FTE licensed home visitor group 4 step 5 with benefits to a full-time equivalent 1,820 hours per year. The background is there for you. Number 6, eligibility child care division, eligibility coordinator child care division. Resolution number SSCC-17-06-41, moved by chair, seconded by committee. The child care services hires a 0.5 contract full-time equivalent FTE eligibility coordinator group 5 with statutory benefits based on 910 hours per year. Number 7, under bylaws, municipal contribution agreement to West Station Lofts Inc. 2016 Social Infrastructure Fund, SIF, investment in affordable housing, rental housing, seniors component. Resolution number SS-CC-17-06-39, moved by chair, seconded by committee, that a bylaw be adopted authorizing the County of Renfrew to execute a municipal contract, contribution agreement with West Station Lofts Inc. for the development of a 19-unit seniors homes complex in the town of Arnprior under the 2016 Social Infrastructure Fund, investment in affordable housing, rental housing, seniors component. Further, the County Council authorization is subject to legal counsel's review of the contribution agreement. Number 6, Ontario Transfer Payment Agreement 2017 Child Care Expansion Funding.
Resolution number SS-CC-17-06-42, moved by council, seconded by committee, that a bylaw be adopted to authorize the County of Renfrew to enter into the Ontario Transfer Payment Agreement with the Ministry of Education for 2017 Child Care Expansion Funding. Background is very clear. All of which is respectfully submitted, signed by myself as chair and committee members Emo, Farr, Grunts, Kingsbury, Murphy, Reinwald, and staff.
Thank you. We'll go back to information item number 1. Number 2, the child care statistics. Number 3, the Ontario Works caseload. Number 4, Renfrew County Housing Corporation, the AGM. Number 5, the licensed home visitor. Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
Just for my information, it says that on November 30th, 16, County Council approved the application due to the closure of homemade jails. Where was that? Homemade?
Thank you, through you, Warden, to Councillor Wisniewski-Moore. That was in Wilno, and I'm happy to report that a new one of the 5 licensed home daycares that was approved by council earlier on this year has taken over that role in Wilno, and those children will be served through that licensed home facility. So a bit of a success story with the licensed home program already. So we're very happy.
Thank you very much. I thought that's where it was, and thank you for confirming that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anything further? Number 6, the Child Care Division Eligibility Coordinator. Number 7, the West Station Lofts, Inc. And number 8, the transfer payment. The report as a whole. Can I get a mover?
So moved.
All those in favor? Thank you. And now we will move on to Finance and Admin. Councillor Stack, take it away.
Thank you, Warden, for the pressure as well. And I have asked my voice to be prepared in case I lose my voice, because I want to thank Craig for keeping the room at 15 and keeping me shivering.
You were out partying last night.
Before I start, I just want to draw your attention to the reports that were on your desk this morning, the surveys on elected official salaries and compensation, mayor's salary, mayor's expenses, deputy mayors and reeves, and the public works salary. So you can take those back to your communities, and I want to thank all of those who provided the information. We did get 16 of 17 municipalities responding this time around. And also a big thank you to Bruce and his team for all the work that was behind that. That said, we, your Finance Administration Committee, wish to report and recommend as follows. Number 1 is council remuneration. 2, Canada 150 events, obvious today. 3 is the AMO local share analysis, which is the bulletin entitled What's Next Ontario. A reminder is number 4 to hand in your laptops for maintenance at the end of the meeting. 5 is the default to the Provincial Fences Act, and there's some interesting information there on the one now that the licenses can be disallowed in the first 4 weeks across the province. They collected 1.6 million in fines, dated fines. 6 is the Ontario 2017 budget and the Stronger Healthier Ontario Act, and that's A portion has prescription drug coverage for those under 24 years of age. B is chronic mental stress. Number 7 is Bill 148, fairness in the workplace, and the primary discussion around that was on the minimum wage. And I'd like to point out that there's some concern about employers and the effects that may have on employment, but I think there's a second part of that issue, and that's the other costs that employers have to endure in terms of payroll deductions and the work involved in that. So it's not just a wage thing. And in today's world, I think $15 an hour is pretty tough to live even at that rate. Number 8 is the WSIB coverage for workers in residential care facilities. 9 is the local municipal staff salaries and remunerations, and I spoke to that a few minutes ago. 10, Bob's out of the room, but is the 13th annual Warden's Golf Tournament. 11, funding under the Ontario Municipal Recycling Program. 42.5 million in the first year, so there's some opportunities there for us. B is the Enabling the Accessibility Fund. And number 12 is resolutions. So resolution number FA-CC-17-06-64, moved by chair and second by committee, that county council adopt the following resolution. And getting instruction, I can skip all of the whereases and go right to the therefores. So now therefore be resolved that the corporation of the county of Renfrew hereby strongly supports submissions of Eastern Ontario Regional Cellular Mobility Broadband Project as a critical economic development priority for Eastern Ontario. And that the Council of County of Renfrew will work as a partner with the EOWC, EORN, along with the federal and provincial governments together with the private sector to improve mobile broadband access and services for the people and businesses of Eastern Ontario. And that the County of Renfrew will support this project by making a financial contribution once the full extent of the project is determined by the federal and provincial governments, and request that both MP Cheryl Gallant and MP John Yakabuski work closely with the EOWC and EORN on this essential infrastructure project. And the background is there. Resolution number 12, sorry, flip the page all the way. And 13 is the Paris Climate Agreement. There's a resolution number FA-CC-17-06-65, moved by chair and second committee, that the County Council endorse the Government of Canada's recent motion in support of the Paris Climate Change Agreement, and that the Government of Canada is hereby requested to provide an annual report card to Canadians on the cost, benefits, and effectiveness of the Paris Agreement. Number 14 is the request for delegated authority, resolution number FA-CC-17-06-67, moved by chair and second committee, that the chief administrative officer be given the delegated authority for months of July and August for the remainder of the term of council to approve consultant appointments and contract awards that would normally require committee and/or council approval. This approval is contingent on the appointments, contracts, awards being within the approved funding allocations, and that there are no irregularities associated with the procurement process. 15, Valley Manor, resolution number FA-CC-17-06-69, moved by chair, second committee, the county council approved that a lump sum payment be provided to Valley Manor in the amount of $184,193, which represents the present value of the County of Renfrew's share for all future mortgage support payments from June 1st, 17 to June 1st, 2028. And further, that the funds be taken from the provisions of unallocated funds, and further, that a bylaw be adopted at the August 2017 session of County Council to authorize this payment and release the County of Renfrew from any further financial obligations related to the services provided by Valley Manor. '16 is the auditor's report, and is moved by chair and second by committee. Resolution number FA-CC-17-06-70. The county council approved the auditor's report of the corporation of the county of Renfrew for the year end December 31st, 2016. 17, under bylaws, is acting chief administrative officer. Resolution number FA-CC-17-06-66, moved by chair and second by committee, that Mr. Paul Morrow, Social Services Director, be appointed as the acting chief administrative officer for the county of Renfrew for the period of July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. And further, that a revised bylaw to appoint the chief administrative officer to define the duties therefore of be adopted at this session of County Council. Number 18 is the appointment of external auditors. Resolution number FA-CC-17-06-71, moved by chair, second by committee, that the county council adopt a bylaw at this session to retain the auditing services of Scott, Rosine, Black, and Charter of Accounts for a further 5-year period ending December 31st, 2021. All of which is respectively submitted by myself as chair, committee members Don Castor, Donahue, Murphy, Peckett, Robinson, Sweet, and this Moore. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go back to number 1, remuneration. Number 2, the Canada 150 events. When we go into new business, I'll just give everybody sort of a flavor of what we're going to do this afternoon. Number 3, the AMO local share analysis. Councillor Emo.
Yes, thank you. I would encourage everybody to respond, but I encourage you to have a thoughtful response, because this may be the only vehicle to achieve any kind of significant injection of funding for the next several years. Both levels of government are at this point, and I would suggest you all parties at all levels don't seem to want to indicate a desire to improve Canada's infrastructure, provincial infrastructure, nor the municipal infrastructure, or the regional infrastructure on a regular basis. They want to do spot-off grants where they get their picture in the newspaper. It's not glamorous to hand over X number of dollars every year and allow your municipal partner, a respected level of government, to spend the money appropriately. So this, we think, is the most reasoned response to ensure that there is significant and consistent finances available for municipal governments to meet their asset management plans, to refresh their infrastructure, and to help meet growth. Now, we understand the Development Charges Act is supposed to help meet growth. Anybody in this chambers would be very reluctant to suggest development charges entirely meets growth. It's a mug's game to try and determine if you're fixing a road and changing the standard a little bit, how much of that percentage should be taken from development charges. So realistically, this is the only path forward in terms of getting adequate funding, and not quite adequate funding, frankly, to achieve our infrastructure renewal projects across the province and across Canada, but more specifically in the province of Ontario. And we have not seen any plans, no indications from any of the 3 parties, provincially or federally, that they intend to contribute money on a regular basis for the next 10 years or 20 years. It's as I said before, it's Easter. They drop an egg and run away. They get their picture taken when you're moving the line over the chocolate, but they don't want to hand you an egg for next year. So I would suggest to you this is the only way, and I would hope you would take a look at this proposal with that lens. There were a number of different proposals put forward. This one has likely the greatest chance of success at the municipal level. There are 443 partners plus the City of Toronto who have been involved in these discussions. Northern Ontario, Eastern Ontario, urban, small rural, large rural, combination of rural, urban, cosmopolitan, all agree this vehicle is likely, and the formula portioning it out is likely the most fair that we could come up with. And we think that AMO's reputation, because of their handling of the federal gas tax and their ability to audit it and make reports and make recommendations, makes the best vehicle for handing this money out. And so I would hope that you would take that into consideration.
Thank you. That certainly came through loud and clear at the Warden's Caucus meeting last week, that AMO does feel that this is the way to go. My only comment was, I don't like ambiguous language, and I want to ensure that if this 1% is put on the HST, that it comes back directly to us the way it's been presented and doesn't get muddied in application for grants or any other funding model. It has to be the way it's been presented, and I just don't want to see that go away as we move forward. And I think that AMO understands that you know, they will be certainly making sure that the language is appropriate. Councillor Emo.
Yes. That is, frankly, that is the intent, and that was probably one of the only things we all agreed on in the room consistently, right from 2 years ago until today. And it's meant as a vehicle to improve infrastructure. It's not meant as a vehicle to improve the balance sheet of municipalities. We're working to include some kind of language so that you don't get to the town of Renfrew and we drop our taxes by 1.8% and tell you what great people we are. Not that we can do that because we can't afford it, but anyway. So that there is that intent that it is meant to come directly to you, and you as a municipal government make choices of what infrastructure you need to invest in.
Thank you. Anything further? Councillor Love.
Thank you, Madam Warden. This has come about through a long process, and there's been a great deal of consultation with municipalities. This started out as What's Next Ontario, and many of us have been involved in this. When Amo was presenting the local share, I completely agree with Councillor Ego's comments and with your comments as well, Madam Warden, that we have to get behind and support this. We cannot continue to look at our property tax base and say they're going to be able to fund the kind of infrastructure deficits that we're facing. So as municipalities, we need to have an option, and this has been well thought out. The method of redistributing the funds is taken into account that there are bigger stressors in small rural municipalities than perhaps in population-dense municipalities, so in larger cities. So they try to balance this well. They try to ensure that there are no winners and losers, but that we will all come out of this with a chance of being able to renew our infrastructure and carry on. So we really do have to look at this. It's critically important that everyone stops, looks at that letter you got, thinks about what it means to your municipality and what it's going to mean to your property taxpayers. Yes, it's a 1% increase in HST, but if it enables you to not have a 7 or 8% property tax increase year over year, when the rubber hits the road and we're forced to ensure that we're looking after our infrastructure, that's going to be critically important, especially in rural Ontario. Thank you.
No pun intended with the rubber hits the road. All right. Number 4, leave your laptops. They will clean them up. Number 5, the Provincial Offences Act fines. Number 6, Stronger, Healthier Ontario Act. Number 7, Fair Workplaces, Better Jobs. Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
Thank you. I appreciate bringing that issue to F&A. I just wondered, again, it's tabled, it says tabled is the report. I can't remember if we had decided that we're going to respond in some way to tell them about our concerns, some of them that Councillor Eamon mentioned. I know we received that as information, but have we decided to respond in any way?
Mr. No, I was going to say no, but I just wanted to make sure I was on the right page here.
Okay, I just wonder if it's something that we shouldn't take a stand on, since we are concerned about, those issues, that instead of just receiving it, if we shouldn't respond in some manner.
Mr. Hutton?
I guess if it's direction of council, we can refer that back to Finance and Admin Committee once again, but I need direction from council to do that. Thank you.
And I apologize that I didn't bring it up at the time, but
It's okay. Can I get some nodding of some heads to bring it back? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Number 8, WSIB coverage for workers in residential care facilities. Number 9, the local municipal remunerations. Oh, sorry, Councillor Doncaster.
Thank you, Madam Warden. At no fault of Mr. Beatley's staff, because they've done an excellent job on this. Just last week, I'd like to point out to all other municipalities that Deep River has updated our non-union senior staff bylaw. So the numbers that we've submitted to Bruce's department are not accurate as of today, or as of last week. So don't count on those numbers if you're using them for comparisons.
Perfect. Mr. Beatley says he will provide us with an updated report. So thank you. Oh boy, number 10, the golf tournament.
There we go.
You gonna smack talk anything sweet?
I just put it down in my diary here, just so that I won't forget.
So it's nothing more.
I was just gonna ask Councillor Sweet, how many times his pictures appeared on, when we get our report? You know, they always put a picture of the, come to the golf tournament thing, and every year it looks like Sweet's on the ticket.
He's the poster boy for golf.
It is what it is.
How sweet
All
it
right,
is.
number 11, the funding. Obviously, we already talked about the commuter cycling, enabling accessibility fund. Moving on to resolutions, the resolution for broadband. Again, once again, this is a priority of the EOWC and will be talked about at AMO and wherever else we can get it in. Number 13, the Paris Climate Agreement. Councillor Gibson.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Could we separate number 13 from the total report, please?
Okay. Does anybody want to second that? Councillor Donahue. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? You did it again. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay, so yes, we're removing it from the updated report.
If I may, Warden, the procedure of that, we don't usually do a motion to remove that from the report, but it's certainly will suffice. No problem with the motion.
I just wanted to make sure everybody was clear on what we were doing there. All right, so we'll move on to number 14, the request for delegated authority. Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would likewise request that this be removed, severed from the report and dealt and addressed separately.
Okay, so now I'm being told I don't need a motion for that, so, okay. So we will remove number 14 as well. Number 15, Valley Manor. Councillor Love.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I really hope that County Council will consider this. The Valley Manor is looking to redevelop a brand new facility on the former Sherwood Public School property. This is something our community really needs. If they don't redevelop, then they will eventually be closed because they're not going to meet the regulations of the province. So this is an opportunity for them to look at sort of restructuring some of their funding and to start to move forward on that project. And I would be very, very happy if County Council would consider this opportunity to get this off our County Council books and provide them with a little bit of money that's going to go towards this project that's so critically important to my community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
I too want to ask county councils to support this initiative. The other question I guess I have to the staff is that if Pembroke, Jeff, if Pembroke does agree, because it's coming to their meeting in the middle of July, if they agree, could we be notified just so that as members of, supporting that community, that we know that they've endorsed their portion of the over 100,000? And again, I would ask County Council to support this, and at the end, we'll do the handshake and we'll break, but it sure will give an advantage to Valley Manor to proceed on their initiative to build a new home. So thank you. I hope County Council will support it.
Thank you, and I understand that there is a funding opportunity for them right now, so this is critically important to them. Councillor Stack.
Yeah, the funding opportunity, but also my understanding is that the mortgage payout is in double digits as an interest rate, so that they would refinance at a much more friendlier rate today. So.
Absolutely. All right. Number 16, the auditor's report. Number 17, the acting chief administrative officer. So we bid adieu to Bruce and bring on Paul. Number 18, the appointment of external auditors. No, well, we're not, sorry, just as the acting, sorry, Bruce. I didn't mean it like that. The report, not as a whole, the report without number 13 and 14.
So I so move with the exception of 13.
13 and 14, which we've removed. All those in favor, except for 13 and 14. All right, now we'll go back to number 13, to the Paris Climate Agreement, and I believe it was Councillor Gibson that was speaking to this.
Thank you, Warren. Just go ahead and call the vote, please, and I can stand out at lunch on a soapbox and give everybody my reasons for voting against it, if they so wish to listen to them.
All right, is there anything further? Councillor Donahue?
Thank you, Madam Warden. Councillor Gibson had stepped in front of me. It was my intent to ask for this to be separate from the report as a whole. We had a discussion 4 weeks ago today with respect to schools and various school boards, and my position then is my position now with respect to bringing the municipal focus to this. I recognize the intent behind this, but what I have put together is a resolution to refer this to back to development and property, which is the source of the initiative. Perhaps I will read that and it will become a little bit clearer on my intent behind this. Moved by myself, seconded by Peter Emo. Whereas Canada has pledged to reduce emissions to 30% below 2005 levels by 2030, and whereas this is expected to limit global temperature growth to 2 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial revolution levels by 2100, and whereas this 2 degrees Celsius is the point above which ice caps are expected to begin irreversible melting. Now therefore be it resolved that Resolution FA-CC 1706-65 be referred back to Development and Property Committee with direction to coordinate the development of a comprehensive plan for the municipal corporation of the County of Renfrew to contribute toward this goal, so as to have an identifiable specific target of what we can do at the County of Renfrew to assist, not simply with endorsing the fact that the Paris Accord exists, but here is what we can do to begin to address those lofty goals meant to address the underlying issues.
Okay, thank you for that. Councillor Stack.
Yeah, two thoughts, I guess. One is, I think if as a county we want to define specific goals and a plan of action, I see that as an entirely separate issue. You know, to support this in a general format, I think as well. And I fundamentally disagree, as I did previously with my honorable colleague, on what is a municipal issue and is not. Anything that impacts our families, our children, and our ability to serve them in the absolute best way we can is a responsibility of any municipal council, as well as any other government agency or organization, in my view. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Emo.
And Councillor Donahue knows what I'm going to say on this. I seconded it because I agree with the initial motion. I think at the same time, though, there should be a second part to it. So I'd be prepared to go ahead and vote in accordance with the initial motion, but liked what he was proposing in terms of a long-term plan. So just wanted to clear on that.
Okay, and I think just as a matter of process, that motion needs to come forward at notices of motion, not right now. Can we vote on it?
If I may,
Yeah.
if I may, Madam Warden. Yes, this would be considered a motion to refer, which does not require notice of motion and is in fact debatable. So we need to deal with this motion first, as we're doing now through this discussion, and bring it to a vote. And then depending on that vote, the other motion will have to be dealt with accordingly. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Wisniewski Moore.
Could I just have Councillor Donahue read that again, just so I know what I'm voting on?
Yes.
By all means.
By your leave, Madam Chair. Whereas Canada has pledged to reduce emissions to 30% below 2005 levels by 2030, and whereas this is expected to limit global temperature growth, mean growth, to 2 degrees Celsius over pre-industrial revolution levels by 2100, and whereas this 2% Celsius is the point above which ice caps are expected to begin irreversible melting. Now therefore be it resolved that Resolution FA-CC-17-06-65 be referred back to Development and Property Committee with direction to coordinate the development of a comprehensive plan for the municipal corporation of the County of Renfrew to contribute toward this goal.
Any further comments? Okay, I'll call for the vote. All those, oh, I'm sorry, Councilor Emo.
Clarification from Mr. Hutton. Should this motion not be successful, is there anything in the particular bylaw that disallows it from being brought forward as a separate motion asking for the verbiage, the plan, to come forward at a later date? So I like that idea. As I said, I like the initial motion and would be supportive of it, but I also am interested in this piece.
Okay, so that's very interesting because we can do both. We can support the Paris Climate Accord and then as a county decide that we'd like to have some measurables. So I'm not sure that that's such a bad idea, and they're not mutually exclusive. Councillor Stack.
We voted on this motion, and if it's defeated, there has to be a reconsideration done, right? And that's the process for bringing it back.
Councillor Donahue.
Thank you. What I would suggest is I appreciate the fact that there seems to be a plan B being proposed here. And as the mover of a motion to refer, should this be defeated, then by your leave, Madam Chair, I would then be prepared to make a motion giving direction that, as opposed to referring this specific motion be taken, should my motion to refer be defeated, then I'm prepared to make a second motion. I'm presuming, given the comments of Councillor Emo, giving direction for this same plan to be developed as a separate initiative.
Councillor Stack.
I don't want to go to Jim here, but it cannot be done. I mean, we're voting on a motion. If we're going to come back with the same intent and content of that, it would have to be a reconsideration.
I would have to check our procedure bylaw, if I may, Madam Warden, and see if it's a motion to reconsider and what applies to that. If this motion is defeated, can it be brought back as a simple motion, or does it have to meet our reconsideration policies?
There's a whole lot of Robert's rules this afternoon. Councillor Donahue.
First off, I want to apologize because I am beginning to get scent of lunch.
No, that's tired butters.
I can feel the envy. I can feel the building. Perhaps at this point, it seems that the comments that I'm hearing in the room don't seem to be predisposed towards my initial motion, and perhaps best if it was withdrawn, and I will then, at notice of motion, make a presentation on the initiative that I ultimately brought forward here as a reference. So at this point, I will now move to withdraw my motion to refer.
Okay, so that being said, now let's vote on number 13, the resolution. No? Oh yeah, sorry, Peter.
In the interest of making sure you guys cream doesn't melt, I'll second it.
We're having ice cream.
And the warden's getting antsy over here. All right, so I will call for the vote on the motion to withdraw. Motion to withdraw that other motion for now. Okay, all those in favor? Opposed, if any? Okay, now we're going to vote on supporting the Paris Climate Accord, number 13. Any further discussion? Oh, sorry. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, if any? Noted. All right, now we're going to move on to number 14, the request for delegated authority. I believe it was Councillor Donahue that removed this, so I'll let you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Madam Warden. I do note that this has been done in the past. It has not been done in this term of council since I took my seat here, so I did some research into it. There is a significant delegation of authority that exists on the books now, that is to $100,000 at the level of the CAO. I do know in my research, at the time of the, I believe it was the construction of the auditorium at Montessor Manor, there was a motion made to delegate authority that was very specific to that particular question with respect to the tenders that were going to be received from potential bidders on construction of that facility. So with this, I certainly view that there are times that it is required to do so, but I would certainly be much more comfortable if this was very narrowly defined. To be sure, when this has been delegated in the past, it has simply been for the month of July. The proposal, the resolution in front of us now says July and August. We do meet, committees all meet back in August once again, and council meets in August once again, so I don't need to extend it beyond that. And secondly, given that oversight of the public purse is one of the main, the principal functions of this body, I am prepared to do this, but I am much more comfortable again in not doing this for anything longer than this period, and if it is needed again in 2018, that a proposal and a resolution come forward once again for that. So I would move a amendment to this that it be for the month of July, and that it expire at the end of July.
Do I have any discussion with Councilor Oden? I need a second.
That's what I'm prepared to do, I'll second
Okay,
that.
excellent. Any discussion? Everybody's okay with the friendly amendment of Councilor Eno?
Not to be difficult, but just thinking ahead, would this then suggest that in the period around Christmas, when we're not yearly transfer, because there may be some other opportunities, are there other points during the year that council is not in the building on for a month or an extended period of time, there's not a regular council meeting beyond the end of November through until, in essence, the end of January. So is this also cover that period, and should we either amend it or consider something?
Let's do it once and do it right. Jim?
Thank you, if I may, through you to members of county council. In regard to what Councilor Ian said, we've never had that issue before. There is a period there from the inaugural session in December to January, but we've never had that issue come up before. I'm not saying it couldn't come up. We might have to call a special meeting of committee of council at some point. This delegation of authority has been used mainly for operations in the capital works programs that occur in the summer months. We have tendered very early this year. We've got some very favorable rates, and in discussions with Mr. Boland, he indicated that this year might be a particular challenge with August as well, and that's why August was added. We will take whatever direction, of course, we get from county council on this. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Business,
As seconder to the changes, I agree with Councilor Donahue, and again, I know when I was warden, there was no issues ever in December. We don't have budgets kind of approved, and contracts aren't necessarily sent out in December or January. That's not the time that we do that kind of business. So, and I agree with our CAO that we can call a special meeting if it doesn't tie our hands completely. We are able to come back here and approve things if it's some urgency. But I agree that we should take August out. I do think we're all back here at our meeting, so I don't see that being a problem, and I miss that, and I appreciate Councillor Donahue bringing that to our attention. I think July, that he needs that ability to do that, but I think otherwise we're here to do business, and that's what our job is as elected people. We're talking about the money.
Thank you, Councilor McKay.
Thank you. I think Mr. Hutton answered some of my question, but obviously it was put in here for a reason and some rationale. I don't imagine it was put in arbitrarily, so I wanted to understand the impact of the business by taking this and changing it from where you've asked for July and August with support rationale. I guess I'd like to understand more what that is and what the impact is on the business, because calling a special council meeting can also have its costs associated with this. So I would like to have a little bit more detail on the rationale from staff as to why this is being recommended by the finance committee.
Mr. Hutton?
Thank you, Madam Warden, through you to Councillor McKay. In our research, we've used it several times over the past 10 years, probably 8 or 9. Don't quote me on that figure. We've probably used the delegation going back over 15 years, long before I was CAO. Under Norm Lemke's CAO-ship, we used the delegation authority. So it's used to further those projects that belong. It does equate to quite a few thousands of dollars. However, there is a council approval already and a committee approval in the budget itself. So there's one layer of approval there. And the proviso in the delegation authority is that there are no irregularities in the bidding process. So the budget is approved, there are no irregularities. We've used it probably, I'm going to say 15 years. The last 2, and Steve and I are really not too sure why, but perhaps it had to do with my absence in, I think it was 2015, where I was away. But for whatever reason, we didn't do it those 2 years. But it's been done the last 15 other than those 2 years. We use it regularly. We've never had an issue with it. And it helps Steve to make sure his projects, capital works projects in public works and engineering are completed in the summer. And I think Councillor Donahue indicated that we did use it once for development of property in 2009. So if that answers your question, and if you have anything further, I'll turn it over to Steve.
But I do see where there could be a problem if something needs to be done at the beginning of August and we don't have a council meeting until the end of August to approve. So now we've gone from this meeting now all the way to the end of the summer virtually. So when I read July and August, that's how I saw it. Even if we're here for committee and it goes to operations or it goes to DNP, we still aren't approving it until August 28th or whatever the date is. So that's where I see a problem here. Sorry, I saw Councillor McKay, I sort of interrupted you. You had a supplementary there.
Yes, I do, and so what I'm understanding is the basic parameters put in place, which is budget controls that has been previously approved by the council, that it would follow anything that's up in there, and anything that's not in there would require a special council meeting because it's outside the parameters of what this council has already approved under the budget authority. So, and used predominantly in the operations for the expedite the business. So I personally think that it's not an unreasonable request to do this, as long as nothing is exceeded that hasn't already been approved by council.
Thank you, Councillor Stack.
Yeah, I think the priority, the point here to make is we read the last end of this. It says the approval is contingent upon appointments / contracts awards being within the approved funding allocation, and there are no irregularities associated with the procurement process. We've already given budget approval for these expenditures. Tenders have come in now, and the issue is basically for Steve when they start to come in at the end of July, and him taking action in the early to mid part of August. So I don't have any issue at all. If it's not within the already approved funding and doesn't follow any part of the procurement bylaw, then we'd have to have that special meeting and deal with it.
Councillor Emo.
Yes, and I may have missed this comment, but I believe then that the process is that it's recorded in the subsequent report applied to the representative committee, which then comes forward and the committee report to council, and then it gets included in the minutes after that meeting. So it's not done in isolation. It's not done when that's being informed although after the fact, but it's noted, falls within the budgetary controls that are approved by council in January every year.
Thank you. I just hate to miss out on a tender. All right, so can I get a, yes, Mr. Hutton?
I just want to remind council that we have 2 items here. We had the end August, and we had the for the remainder of the term of council. So just from what I'm hearing, we might have to deal with that amendment before we deal with it again, just to deal with those 2 issues.
Councillor Donahue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To be sure, I asked for, perhaps it was communicated in the original resolution at F&A, that this has been exercised in the past, and I acknowledge that it certainly has. In the last 10 years, No resolution was sought in 6, 7, or 8. There was one passed but not used in 9. It was passed and used in 10. No resolution was used, no authority was used in 11, so it has been sporadic. And with respect to this having already been budgeted, if these have already been contained within those capital projects across the corporation, not limited specifically to operations, then we should also be able to identify the very specific projects that we anticipate these tenders are coming in. These are not emergency measures, these are not surprises, we have budgeted for them. One of the things I did seek in my amendment, which was actually done in 2009 for the development of the auditorium on a shared manner, was it was very specific. This is the project that we need the delegated authority for. Well, we already know we have passed a budget that contains all of our capital expenditures for the year. So I think we should also have a pretty fair idea of which ones those are, and not from a perspective of one may come in August. Presumably we can be informed this is coming in August. That's my position on being much narrower on this, and I recognize that we have the authority to delegate, but that authority to actually exercise our oversight, I see as fundamental to my sitting here, so I do see this as worthy of consideration.
So if I'm hearing you right, what you'd like is an actual breakdown of those tenders that could potentially come in and be awarded under the delegated authority during the months of July and August.
What I would suggest is right now, because I know that there is some urgency, I would limit it to what I said. That this delegation be for the month of July 2017. And if that amendment can be made, I can support this delegation of authority. After that is done, we can take up in the fall what may be the appropriate policy in doing this on a going forward basis. And I think it is entirely appropriate, if that is identified perhaps in December or January, that we do so then. But of course, in December, there's very little budget left to expend, and in January, we haven't approved it yet.
All right, so Mr. Hutton and Mr. Boland, do you anticipate any tenders coming in the month of, or the early time in August? That time would be of the essence and the tender couldn't be awarded until the end of August?
Through you, Warden, to members of council, there are 3 potential projects, if I can just outline what they are. One is the County Road 1 project between Tolman Road and Mastwell. Second is the County Road 45 project, that's Banjamar Drive. That's a resurfacing project in consultation or in conjunction with the development that's ongoing. And the other is the engineering assignment and work that is proposed to be undertaken on the Madawaska River Bridge in Armcar. All 3 of those projects potentially could come in early in August, but at this point, we're in the process of issuing the documents and no decisions have been made. But the only one that would be time critical potentially on that would be the Banjamar Drive resurfacing. And we would want to make sure that that ties in with what the developer is doing, so we have some, we can take advantage of the benefits of economy and scale on that project.
So that being said, even the possibility of one tender coming in at the beginning of August that we couldn't award until the end of August, I feel it is a huge mistake on our part. I think the director has given us the projects that he feels will come in during July and August, and we don't want to lose out on any of those tenders, especially with the good tenders we've been getting. So at this point, is there any other? So I'm going to call a vote on the amendment that Councillor Donahue requested. Councillor Donahue moved it, you seconded it?
I seconded it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Janice, sorry, yes. So I'm going to call for the vote on the amendment to limit it to just the month of July. All in favor? Opposed? All right then, and now we'll go back to the resolution. Oh, yeah, we'll go back to number 14, because we have to vote on it alone. You certainly can. All right, Councillor Donahue is asked for a recorded vote.
If I may, Madam Warden, the recorded vote on the amendment?
No, that's not, we've done, we voted already on that.
Well, you can ask for that at any time. I was wondering. Thank you.
Councillor Wisniewski Moore?
So this one would again give to the end of this council's term. And so that was the second part of our concern, was that it should be looked at yearly. So those of you that are voting for that, then saying that you're allowing it to happen till the end of the term, just a reminder.
Does anybody want an amendment to the timing? Councillor Farr?
Call for the vote. Through you, Warden, to Mr. Hutton. You brought it to our attention that there is two parts to this one. We just had a discussion about restricting it only to July. Can we have an amendment that it would go July, August, but remove the end of term? And we will discuss that when we come back at the end of August.
If I may, Madam Warden?
Absolutely.
Through you, Councillor Farr, the amendment was turned down that was proposed. If there's going to be another amendment, somebody would have to have a mover and a seconder to bring forward a second amendment. For instance, if that's to remove the remainder of term of this council, someone would need to move that as another amendment, discussion, a seconder, and vote. And then we would do with the principal amendment what we maybe we need to do. Thank you.
Exactly what we're going to do. So would you like to move the amendment to remove the term?
Yes.
All right, does Mayor Farr or Councillor Farr have a seconder?
Sure.
Councillor Gibson? All right, so I'm going to call for the vote. We are now leaving July and August, but only for the year 2017. All those in favor, you guys are really putting me to work today. All those in favor? Opposed? All right, that's carried. So, friendly amendment, and that takes care of number 14. Yay.
Still have to vote back.
Oh yeah, I have to go back to number 14 now. So I have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor for number 14, but without the term? Opposed, if any?
I'm sorry, I think I misunderstood this. So my impression would be that the amendment.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it, Jim. That cancels out number 14.
No, we don't. We vote on the amendment, then you got to go back and vote on the principal motion.
Oh, for
Taking that part out.
Yeah, so you take that part out. If I may, we vote on number 14 as amended.
That's
As amended. All right. Look, John's back there nodding. Boy, do I ever feel bad for the gallery today. All right, so all those in favor of number 14 with the amendment? All in favor? Opposed, if any? It carries. Oh, good Lord. All right, we're going to move to bylaws. Who's got the bylaws? Councillor Love.
Thank you, Madam Warden. Moved by Councillor Love, seconded by Councillor Doncaster, that the bylaws listed on item 11 and attached hereto as Schedule A on the County Council agenda dated June 28, 2017 be deemed read 3 times and passed.
You've heard the resolution on the floor. All those in favor? Nobody's opposed. Notices of motion.
Oh, sorry, yes.
I think Councillor Donahue fell asleep.
Feel the eyeballs burning into me. Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I will be bringing forward at our August meeting a motion directing through development of property the plan be developed of how the county of Renfrew can contribute towards the Paris Accord goals set by our nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any written motions? Seeing none. New business? Councillor Doncaster.
Thank you, Madam Warden. I'll be brief as I can. So, yeah, at the beginning of June, I was honored to attend the FCM annual conference as the county representative. I found the conference to be very informative, and while the nomination of myself was past the deadline for me to run for a position on the board of directors, I did have the opportunity of gaining a whole bunch of new contacts, which was very helpful. I'd also like to thank Walter Stack at this time because I believe I was on his registration, so I appreciate the fact that I got to tour a sewer plant and the Ottawa City dump. Thanks for that.
All
And excuse my use of the term city dump, but that's exactly what it is. I expected to see some state-of-the-art facility, but it's not much different than our own. So they do some innovative things. The one thing that they do have is a falcon that scares away or actually kills and eats seagulls. So I would point out that I did put my name forward to be a member of FCM committees. I believe they're meeting yesterday, so I should be there the next week or two about any committee appointments. Secondly, I read in the leader today the need for the need for access for arena ice times for the Eganville Arena as they do some renovations. So on behalf of Deep River, I think I'll start this. I would like to offer up any available ice times in Deep River through September and October should groups in Eganville need to use that. It's only an hour away. I know there is closer communities, but I believe we would have ice times available. And secondly, with the approval of council, which I will take up with them, charges for Eganville Minor Hockey and the skating club, my proposal will be that they'll be the same rates that we charge our own clubs.
Wow, thank you. Number one, Glenn, thank you so much for taking on FCM. I know that it was sort of a quick turnaround, giving of the baton, if you will. And on behalf of Montashire Valley and North Elgin Wilberforce, thank you so much for the offer. I know that it's going to be a very difficult year for our minor hockey and our skating club. Is there anything further in new business? Councillor Nemo?
Very quickly, I'd like to thank Lacey Rose and Big Bible and Alistair Baird for their efforts with SawTech. Lacey, just to inform council, went through the forest bush, I'm not trying to call it bush in the forest, at Mattaway, outlined some walking tours and some species for identification, also outlined how they wanted to demonstrate equipment section to prune the forest bush. And so we're very fortunate that she made such a great effort. David Waibu did a great job of ensuring that we had a lot of local content and promoted the event. And so we're very fortunate. I wanted to let you know that the event, to my understanding, exceeded the participants or the visitors last year by about 30%. They had about 35 to 40% more booths than they had last year. So all of that, I think, is through the efforts of Lacey and David and Alistair, and I just wanted council to know that. And further to the gallery, this is the risk you take when you don't pay for a show. It's not a very good show.
Thank you, and congratulations on that event. Councillor Wisniewski-Moore.
I just wanted to thank Councillor Stack. He did sit on the FCM, and I attended one of the conferences, and he did a really good job on behalf of the county of Renfrew. So to Walter, I wanted to thank you. I think you did a wonderful job. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your service, Walter. All right, so I got some housekeeping stuff. Number one, the donation box for wearing the jeans is right there. All the proceeds go, you put more than $5 in. The proceeds go to the Renfrew Victoria Hospital Oncology Unit, very near and dear to my heart. For those of you that are not wearing blue jeans, but what you claim are jeans, it's $50. And if you will indulge me for a moment, if I could ask Councillor Grunts to come up. Yeah. So, Councillor Grunts is abandoning us, leaving us, and going to New Brunswick. And I think we all knew that Gary and his lovely wife Lil bought a house earlier this year, and now they're moving.
Started out as a cottage.
But I know I can speak on behalf of all of County Council. Thank you so much for everything you've done here. And you were quiet, but boy, when you spoke, everybody listened. And we're going to miss you very much. So. Thank you. Let's give them a round of applause and wish
I spent 6.5 years on council, and I always said the best week was the one that didn't appear in the newspaper, and
You're in it. You're in it this week, yeah. Good work, Deb.
thank you to the staff, thank you to the councilors, thank you to my wife Lil for 6.5 years of support. Not quite that long, but anyway, we're getting there. It started out as going to be a cottage, things happen, life goes on. I'm retiring. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, now, what are we doing this afternoon? We're now almost an hour late for lunch. So all of our guests are invited, and the council, of course, is invited for lunch in the courtyard. For those of you that didn't get a red t-shirt in the gallery, please get a red t-shirt. We're going to have some photo ops later on. In about, I'm going to say about an hour, we'll have some remarks from Kim Love and myself. And then we've got some unveilings and some gifts, if you will. And in about probably an hour and a half, we will move up to the time capsule and seal it up with the help of our great friend Bob Peltzer, and we'll talk about him later on. But let's go get something to eat. I'm sure everybody's starving. We have no closed session, so confirmatory bylaw. Hey, hold on. One more, Janice, one more. Go ahead, Kim.
Moved by Councillor Love, seconded by Councillor Doncaster, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the County of Renfrew at the meeting held on June 28, 2017, be now numbered, deemed read 3 times, and passed.
Thank you. You've heard the resolution. All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, go ahead, Janice. Adjournment. Moved by Councillor Wisniewski-Moore, seconded by Councillor Love. Anybody opposed? I guess not. Thank you, team, and I wish you all a wonderful summer, and I hope you all have a great Canada in 50 days in your own municipalities. Talk and enjoy each other's company. I want to thank the staff. That was a great lunch. I think I know we made our guests wait, but I think it was worth it. At this time, I would like to call on our special guest, MPP John Yakubuski, to do the national anthem. Oh, good idea. A little water. Yep. Wherever you'd like, John. The flags are here. So if we could all stand for the national anthem. Well, look at all of them. Look how cool.
Oh, you got the words here, just kidding.
Look how cool this looks.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
And at this time, I'd like to call upon Councillor Kim Love, who was the chair of our Canada 150 committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Renfrew County Canada 150 Committee, I'd like to welcome everyone to our celebration of Canada's sesquicentennial. The Renfrew County Canada 150 Committee held its first meeting in January this year. We recognized immediately that all of our lower-tier municipalities had big plans to celebrate Canada's birthday this year. So our plans needed to promote and celebrate the efforts of our municipalities. As a result, we developed the Renfrew County Canada 150 website to promote all the activities and events happening throughout the year in your municipalities. Please make sure you use it to reach everyone in Renfrew County and beyond. We invited you here today to contribute to the Renfrew County Time Capsule and to bring a commemorative plaque back to your communities. We hope this celebration today will strengthen the bonds between our member municipalities and the County of Renfrew. On behalf of the Renfrew County Canada 150 Committee, I'd like to thank our Renfrew County staff for all the hard work that went into this wonderful celebration today. Let's give them a big round of applause. And everyone, please enjoy the afternoon. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, I too would like to thank the committee. I know Janice and Jed and Tom, you know, that we had a lot of discussion about what this day would be, knowing that we all want to be in our host municipalities on Saturday. So I want to thank all of you for being here as well. When I look out among you, I see a coming together of a diverse community. Renfrew County is just that, diverse. 150 years ago, other leaders came together to celebrate the birth of a nation. As we celebrate the 150th anniversary of the Confederation of our great country, I want you to all reflect on who we are as a community, where we have come from, and where we are going. Together with the cooperation of our provincial and federal governments and the continued good friendship and partnership with the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan First Nation, we as a diverse community will continue to grow and thrive. I want to thank our MPP, John Yakubuski, for being here today. And I know she had to leave. She's very busy, but our MP, Cheryl Gallant, joined us for a little while today as well, so we thank her. Today I wish to thank so many for the planning of this event to celebrate and commemorate Canada's birthday. First, I'd like to thank the chair of the Canada 150 Committee, Mayor of Madawaska Valley, Kim Love. Kim, your committee has delivered a great day for all of us as municipalities and staff come together, which is such a rare and precious opportunity. I'd like to thank CAO Jim Hutton and Rose Gruntz and all of the staff here at the County of Renfrew for providing their support. To all the local municipal councillors and staff here today, I say thank you for being here to help us all celebrate. You all look great. In the near future, we will be presenting each municipality and the Algonquins of Pikwakanagan with a Vimy Memorial Oak Tree as a symbol of our united and diverse communities. We don't have them yet, but we will be getting them out to all the municipalities. All right, so Bob. Where is Bob Peltzer? Bob Peltzer, ladies and gentlemen. Bob, could you join me up here, please? So, Bob is a councillor in my own township of Bonashir Valley, and he is Bob the Builder. Out there, he most graciously spent long hours slugging rocks and mortar in the hot sun on some days and dodging rain on other days, all to build the wonderful cairn for the time capsule we will seal up later today, and you'll all have an opportunity to see your stamped rock, the contents of which are as diverse as all of you. Bob, we want to thank you very much for your time and efforts. You've built a wonderful monument to our communities, and this is just a small token of our thanks for what you've done.
Well, thank you, Ken. Thank you.
For those of you who haven't taken a good look at it yet, you'll understand why you just gave him a standing ovation. The one in Eganville was just made up of rocks. But thanks to Councillor Wisniewski-Moore, all of a sudden, all of the rocks had to be stamped with our names on them. So yay, Janice, you made his life just a little more difficult.
It's okay. It worked out, and I think for the better, because I think you got a really beautiful cairn for the time capsule out of it. The only thing I'm just going to ask one thing of the members of council that are here today: you all need to come back in 50 years when it's opened. Either in body or spirit.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Jen.
And we'll get a photo of Bob with the time capsule later on. Take some time today, each of you, look at each other and look at the county we live in. We are truly blessed as a community. It's been 150 years of history, 150 years of building a nation, and in the next 150, we and those who follow us will all share in building upon the efforts of our predecessors to make this great and diverse county a place for so many to call home. And I remind you of the County of Renfrew motto: experience our history, share our future. Thank you so much for being here. And at this time, I think, are we going alphabetically? Oh, I'm sorry. First of all, we found a treasure, and I think Craig's going to come over. Yeah, we found a was it in the vault? It was in storage, correct? Oh, yeah. So they got this map, and
Former Warden Wallace Krause.
oh, really? Oh, okay. Former Warden Wallace Krause. And thankfully, through the efforts of our staff, we had it framed, and it will hang proudly in the hallway, correct? Out here? Yeah. So I encourage all of you to come up and look at it. It's quite a piece of history and is framed beautifully. I think it's quite a tribute to the County of Renfrew. So thank you.
And that was when we were 36.
Yes.
That was from 1949.
1949.
There you go. So beautiful. Okay. So now how are we doing this? We're just going to start with the start. Okay. So, Town of Arnprior. Could I have, Mayor Reed, and any staff, councilors? Ted? Staff? Kim, we should get a, maybe we'll get a picture of the committee later with the map. Okay, yeah. So on behalf of the County of Renfrew, we've replicated.
Really nice.
Isn't that nice? So that's for you to take to your municipality.
Right here.
Happy Canada Day, everyone.
Deep River. I'm sweating like a pig. Deep River. Laurentian Hills. Is it just you and me, Chad?
Pardon me?
Is it just you and, oh, no. No, that's right. Mrs. Giardini with you.
Mr. Boucher.
Mr. Boucher.
And Mrs. Batten.
Come on up.
Come on.
She doesn't have her red.
I know she's not in uniform. We are going to get a picture of everyone like this outside by the time capsule.
You're not going to miss this.
Could go to the footage button.
Put my arm around you, Tim?
There you go. Oh, and if you want the plastic bags to take them home, we've got the bags here. We want that. Oh, sorry. It makes me sad in my heart. I know. Look at this. Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
You look better with the zombie makeup on.
There we go.
Wow.
That's me.
What was that? Oh, sorry, John.
All right, Sean?
You're right.
There you go.
My eyes are closed.
Oh,
Yes, you take that.
yeah, sure.
I have a sweet shoe. Thank you. There's one over here, Carrie. Yeah. Sure.
Yes. I know, she's the official Canada 150.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I'm Boston Bromley.
Take that and take the picture.
Michael has been sworn not to speak.
Michael, I seconded that.
Yeah.
Say something profound.
All in favor? How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Are you from the township too? One more. We're getting it for our Facebook and Twitter.
Proud resident.
I
Speech.
Thanks.
No speech. No speech.
You're the next one.
Okay.
Bonisher Valley.
Oh,
Okay.
Bob.
Next one is Bonisher Valley.
Jackie.
She had to leave.
Oh,
She's a county employee. She's got jobs.
yeah, one of our counselors is, she also works for the county of Renfrew, so I guess Paul sent her back to work. She, absolutely. Absolutely.
How do you feel now, Paul?
There you go. There you go.
Okay, don't move.
Still moving. Excellent, thank you. Oh, Bridnell and Doc and Raglan. As we say goodbye to our friends, Gary. We'll send you a yearbook, we've got to send them a yearbook in New Brunswick.
All my counselors work.
So are mine.
Right here?
Greater Madawaska. All right.
Should have been Allison's t-shirt.
Yeah, exactly. That's okay. Hey, Claire Mariah. I feel like I'm handing out Academy Awards. Like, people should come up and say, I'd like to thank my mother and God. Just you?
Just the reason I'm here alone is our Canada Day event starts on Friday afternoon and ends on Monday afternoon. So if you need more celebrations, come up Sunday and Monday.
Oh, yes.
Okay, right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Horton. Horton, hand me, Bob.
Nice picture.
Hillary Packard. Come on, guys. Boy, they travel together, right?
Who's working with it?
Yeah, who's running the township? There's only 3-4 of us.
It's a well-organized Janice that runs itself.
That's there right. You go. Janice, come on. What's his mouth a bit? Come on, Teddy. Yeah, go on here.
Right here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. And it should have been mentioned, Janice was actually the vice chair of the Canada 150 committee, so she was integral in some of the decision making. Thank you. Thank you very much. Ocean Valley. Oh, God, no one's going to have to bend down. Who's related to you? We're related by marriage. By marriage. One of you over here.
Yeah. That's good. Right here, big smile. Couple more.
I didn't get you. Madawaska Valley. Thought I spotted some of your people back there. McNabb, brace us.
That's you, Tom.
Tom. Tom, did you bring friends? Oh, Lindsay had to leave.
Oh, Lindsay had to leave?
Yeah. She said she had to get back to work. She had a meeting.
Poor girl.
You're gonna wear that collar. Yeah, those, I'm gonna put those up in the bag.
Yeah, I just waved at him to tell me, come on. Is Mr. McLaren still here? Oh, now he didn't have to go back to work.
That's what he told me. See it.
I'm just thinking, he's his own boss, he gets to set his hours.
Okay, looking right here.
Okay, I'm gonna get you guys to.
Yeah, keep our smile on.
Don't be letting your.
Oh, sure, might as well. Thank you very much.
Last but not least, wait while the region. Oh, you are a W.
What's that? Start with W.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that's gonna look.
Yeah. Okay, I apologize. Yeah, can we get the Canada 150 committee for a quick photo? And then what we're going to do is we're going to invite you all outside. It stopped raining, and we're going to see the time capsule, take some photos, and I think we're going to do the ceremonial.